YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Finally, the pond is done. Sort of. It's never really going to be done. But we were super excited. These things have been sitting in my basement, burn a hole in my pocket since 2020, June of 2020. It is June of 2024. We're going to fly this beautiful Carbon Cub SS V2. That means orange number 2 with the float set. We're going to have links for you. But I just need to warn you, I think that the kit itself is out of stock right now. So we're gonna link to the right, the left, and then the frame kit. But just make sure you get the right frame kit, because if you have the blue one, or if you have the older version 1, they are slightly different, okay? So we're gonna put this in, we're gonna do the Virgin launch in our brand new pond. We are so excited. We're literally getting fish after we're done filming this. So it's gonna be super exciting. I don't even know if I can shore it here, but we're gonna do the, if I fall in, you gotta save that video footage. You guys ready? Yep. Okay, here we go. Show them the tadpoles. Show them the tadpoles. Look, millions of them.
Everywhere. The fish will be thrilled.
The fish are gonna be so happy. Oh my goodness. So, it is the Virgin Run. We have only put little boats on here so far, and it was when it was half full. It is totally full. We're just gonna give you guys a quick taxi. So reverse thrust is kind of handy. Oh yeah. That is so cool. Okay, so real quick, camera crew and I are gonna go around the woods. We're gonna go around the woods and give them a shot there. And I'm just gonna keep it taxied back from the bank. And this is gonna be so stinking cool, we can't wait. Guys, the damn runway can't be built for a year, but we can use the pond right away.
Are we gonna film from here?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just gonna back it up. Do you wanna do the Virgin takeoff here? Here we go. Take off flaps. Probably don't even need them. Okay, we're just gonna get up on a plane. Oh, gorgeous.
That's so cool.
It's the first takeoff of a real airplane. Oh, that is so cool, guys. And would it be awesome if I just like immediately crashed?
No.
Okay, I don't think so either.
Let's not do that.
So guys, if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC, this is a pond we've been working on for almost a year now. Actually a little bit, technically over a year.
Yep.
And it's been one of the visions I had for this property. And we are so excited to be bringing you guys footage here. So I'm gonna take a landing, and then we're gonna switch our position. So full landing flaps here. This is literally the first time I've flown off this pond, guys. So if you think I'm being a little bit careful and cautious, you are correct. Yes, it's so awesome. Okay, we're gonna reposition and come right back. I was like, why are we pausing? This is the creek that we backed up as part of the pond project. And so we literally have been like clearing trees and stuff.
Yes.
And so it's so nice to have telemetry when you do videos like this, because you can see exactly where your battery voltage is. Oh yeah, we got lots of time. So super exciting. We're gonna be doing tons of work up and down this creek. Camera crew and I are gonna basically be able to film all sorts of boats, all sorts of cool things. And once the fish get inserted into L waters, then it's gonna be even cooler. Now, we're not totally done with our cleanup projects. Obviously, we have sticks everywhere because we had storms last week. And it's so much fun because we built this bridge. And if you guys wanna see us building this bridge, we literally have footage of that. And we are just so excited to be sharing all this. And if you wanna see where this water comes from, let's show them that real quick. Throttle cut is on, by the way. That thing can just chill because we have thrust reverse, folks. Thrust reverse, one of my favorite features. When we bought this property, you couldn't walk here. This was so thick with weeds and overgrowth that you literally could not walk through here. Grass, all this stuff. This is Megan and I's hard work, and then the kids too. That's our ephemeral stream. And just to give you an idea, we've gotten like 10 inches of rain in the last so many months. Excuse me, last so many weeks.
Week.
And so this is the water that comes from 48 acres. When it's calm, or when there's not much rain, this doesn't run, okay? When it does run, it runs. But now this should stay like this. It's gonna be super cool. We've got a little bit more work to do here. And as you can see, this is kind of the front of the property, and you see the windsock. We don't hardly ever fly down here because there's never really been a way to fly here, okay?
Yep.
And we probably still won't.
Right.
Because it's tight. But the cool thing is now we have a waterway to demonstrate cool products that we can show in river type atmosphere. So guys, this video is double-edged sword because we know that you guys are interested in what's going on. Obviously, we got a little clearing to do here, knock down some of this overgrowth.
Honeysuckle and
Honeysuckle
invasive
is an invasive species here in Iowa, and it might not be where you are, but here it is.
We'll send you some.
We're gonna take it down, and we're gonna basically clear it out so we can see, and then keep tabs on the waterway. This bridge we built, if you guys are curious, you can actually see a video of us building this. This bridge, I have driven full-scale vehicles across. I drive our tractor across all the time. And look at that beautiful plane on the water. It's so cool. Oh, it's so exciting. Culmination of many years of effort here. And guys, if you've ever done something bigger than yourselves, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is such a huge and exciting project. And you can film the waterway. I want them to see this. See these trees? Hold still. You see these trees? When you walk, it makes it all vibrating. Just hold still. These trees got moved from right here. We have more trees that are gonna be moved that direction. And that's gonna make a little bit of a shape similar to what we had here that we displaced, okay? And so it's very exciting. We wanna keep it as el natural as possible. And most of you guys are like, get a chainsaw. We have a chainsaw, believe me, we use it too, a lot. I've used it so much the last 2 weeks, it's been crazy. This tree line we saved, if you look at the last tree, we lost that in a storm last week, and we lost some trees over the hill. In fact, you could see one of the trees we lost. About a third of that tree is gone, and it is huge. It's like the base of it's this big, and it's probably 50 feet long. So this is a beach, so we'll be able to beach things, which is really nice. That's pea gravel, not sand, because we don't have enough slope. Keep in mind, this is brand new. So it's brand new. The ecosystem is not kicked in. This is seeded. And so this is gonna eventually come up with grass in hopefully the very near future. Our pile of wood is gone, which is beautiful. That was a ton of work.
Yes.
Guys, it's been like endless work, and it's been the culminating experience. We went to Joe Nall, came back from Joe Nall, spent a week at work, and now here we are. We're basically trying to get everything wrapped up so we can build a dock and we can start launching boats and airplanes. But without further ado, we're gonna keep flying. We hope we didn't bore you with all those details, but that's one of the reasons why telemetry is so dang nice. You guys don't get advantage of the house very often from this side. If you're curious, yes, we do have solar panels on the roof. You can ask us about that. We have links. It says solar, BPRC solar. If you're in the Midwest or if you're in the North, that'd be the Northwest. Then you can follow that link and they'll let you know if you're a good candidate. We love the company. They did a really good job. We also have backup batteries. We use the same company for that. It's awesome. I can talk more about it in another video. You just never get to see that because we never film from this side. That's where the damn runway is gonna be. You guys are seeing the vision for the first time, maybe some of you. And it's, for me, probably the culmination of 10 plus years of effort. It's really exciting. So if it seems a little bit overexciting to you, I get it. Just bear with me, okay? There's so much more to do. And look, we've got wind. It's not even dead calm, but we're gonna fly, and we're gonna fly over here. So this is one of the biggest planes I have. And so if it'll do this, it'll do any of the rest, okay? So camera crew is gonna come with me. We're gonna just do a little taxiing. Boy, that thing wind vanes like crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
There it is. Look how quick that thing gets out of the water. Absolutely gorgeous. Guys, check out the shadow. Screwing up our solar production. If you can fly this plane here, you can fly any plane here. You know what I mean? At least any plane that we do. So when we get the extreme flights and things like that, it'll be no problemo. Now guys, if you've never experienced the Carbon Cub, it is one of the best. It is so much fun. It is incredibly powerful, incredibly capable. And even on floats, it acts like what float? What float? In fact, I think the DeBro tires are more heavy than these floats. Little exaggeration there, folks. So as you can see, we've got definitely different lines. We have to get used to the lines when we're flying a different terrain. And when you want to land, watch this, check this out. Thrust reverse that water. Yes. So much fun. Okay, into forward thrust. We're gonna just keep being in reverse thrust actually. As you can see, the reverse thrust is plenty powerful. That's about 13, 14, 15% throttle. And let's do a crosswind takeoff. You see the windsock up there. It gets disturbed by all sorts of goodies going on. But man, that is so much fun. I cannot wait. And that's where the full scale strip is gonna be, up there. Man, that is so sweet. And just so you guys know, I'm still learning the flight path, because when you fly tight terrain, you gotta know where the trees are, you gotta know where the obstructions are, you gotta know all that stuff. And we just like literally, I don't know it yet. I'm still learning it. And when you fly a new terrain, you've got more potential to run into solar panels and houses and things like that. So like for instance, when we fly at Null, I fly ultra conservative. Man, this is so cool, and yet it feels still very tight with this huge plane. What do you think, camera crew? Takeoff flaps.
I'm like shockingly excited, first of all. It looks so cool, but it's weird to film in a different spot.
I know.
I'm sure it's really weird for you to fly in a different spot.
It is really weird. I'm like soaking it up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's weird because like I don't know what to expect, and I don't have the field memorized yet.
Right.
And so it's like, it's really kind of almost scary for me, because when you fly, you're always looking ahead of where you are, but not to mention it's also kind of windy. Oh, that is so much fun, guys. Now, the other cool thing is, when it's your pond, you get to do what you want, when you want, and that is one of the biggest reasons that we really kind of needed this to be our pond. We used to live in a neighborhood where we had access to not one, but 3 ponds. Now, granted, the first one was very small. It was a small retention pond, and then 2 of them were displacement for all the houses and everything, so the county would have required them. Look at that wind vane. Isn't that crazy? Look how immediate that thing wind vanes.
Yeah.
That is crazy, and really cool also. So I want to do a long, drawn out, no flap takeoff. And by the way, flying style changes quite a bit. Camera crew, you want to go up a little bit? Let's go up a little bit. Okay. See if we can. We're still trying to figure out where we want to do kind of like a filming station. And that filming station is going to be a place for us. Oh yeah, I can barely even turn it because of the wind vaning. Isn't that crazy? So I can back it up. Let's see if I can back it up. Boy, I'm telling you guys, thrust reverse is the thing you need when you're doing flights from floats like this, because it just takes the stress factor out.
The windsock just really picked up. Can you see it?
Yes, I can. And isn't that crazy? Look at the thing. It's like you think you're gonna get it with that little water rudder, like it's gonna be no big deal. Look at this. I'm full rudder and it's going the other direction. Look at that.
Yeah.
I could take off this direction right now, probably. You want me to try?
Ooh, can you?
Yeah, probably. But then I'm afraid that once I get off in the air, it's gonna be kind of a janky flight right into the house. So let's do this instead. Long drawn out. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, nope, it's not gonna let me do it.
Wow.
You gotta be basically lined up. So now we're gonna figure out if the width of the pond is acceptable for this size class.
Okay.
You see the rudder?
Yep.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't wanna go that way. It's just wind vaning. Oh, I love seeing the little current out in front of the boat.
Yeah.
It's like a reverse wake. It's awesome. Okay, look at the wind shift up there on the windsock. You can just barely catch it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, here we go. All right, here we go. Takeoff flaps off. Get up on a plane. Oh yeah, so much fun. So guys, if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC, culmination of life goals here, flying off of our own pond. The pond has been done for just a couple of days. And so this is just super duper exciting. Beautiful clouds, hyper turbulent air today. Probably not great for filming, but you know what? I could not resist. Ooh, see, that's what I'm talking about, folks. New terrain, look at this, inside out, come out of a come out of a stall upside down. Oh, it doesn't want to tip over because of the weight of the floats. But you got plenty of power. Take off flaps now. Man, I love it. It's so good. And then all I got to do is look down at my controller. And as you can see, I've got telemetry data, which helps me to understand how much power I have. You don't want to land with no power in the water, folks. Oh, look at that bird up there. Is that that's a big vulture, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what the vulture's up to. What's up, vulture? Hey, how you doing, vulture? Man, look at those thunderheads popping up all over.
Yeah, the atmosphere is really...
This vulture's like, get me away from that giant weird thing.
Hey, come eat our dead snake.
Yeah, we do have a snake, guys. You going over me?
Yeah, you're good. Right over your head.
So one thing I want to do is I want to do a prop hang on this plane because I know I can. I got plenty of power. It's just the wind is ambiguous here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this and just get the prop hang done. Whoa, boy. Maybe not quite enough to do the prop hang in all the turbulation. Man, that looks so sweet. Are you getting some decent close shots of it, hon?
Yeah.
I want to see the reflection. Oh, so gorgeous. And by the way, like I said, this is probably one of the biggest planes at the moment that we're going to be flying off of this property here. Doesn't mean it won't be the last or biggest, but it is right now the biggest that I have. Technically, I think our Fox 3 meter is bigger, but it's not going to be on floats. And in terms of body, you know, weight, wing loading, all that stuff. Oh man, that wind is coming right up the hill. Can we slope it? Can we slope it? Will it slope? The landing flaps here. Really slow. Let's see if we can land it this way. Oh yeah, we can. There it is. And I don't like when I bouncy wounce it, but man, that looks so cool, doesn't it?
It does. It's just kind of surreal, the whole thing.
It is,
right
really.
now.
It is totally. Okay, let's see if I can get off here. Oh yeah. That's one of the things that's so dang nice about this Carbon Cub, guys. You just got the power to do what you want, even if you really shouldn't be doing it. And I gotta say, this is probably the cleanest water we've ever flown off of too, because there's not like been any time for the moss to really grow, you know?
Yeah.
There is just some crazy turbulation over the hills right now. Beautiful. Now guys, if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC and you're like, why is it such a big deal that you're flying off a pond? This is the pond behind my house in our little aerodrome. It is super, super cool, and I'm super excited. I'm gonna back taxi, try to take off this direction. You good? Mm-hmm. And then I should have plenty of power. I'm about 30% power left. Okay, so take off flaps, here we go. Oh yeah, not even a question. It just took it and just went crazy. Now this is where you guys are used to seeing us fly, but look at that turbulence. I don't know if you guys can tell, but when you fly tight areas, that's what it looks like. Even with AS3X, obviously not safe going on here, but with the wind, hard on the throttle, just going through this little opening. Obviously you're better to land with the wind at your face, and I was going with the wind. I want to try to turn this way. Full landing flaps, slowing it down downhill, into the ground effect. Oh, so gorgeous. A lot of rudder, and just bring it down nice and beautifully. Now you also notice if you carry more speed on a landing, look, now the windsock's dead, almost limp. Okay, broke the surface tension with the ripples, get up on a plane, use the rudder, fly the plane as though you're flying on top of the water, out of the flaps, and you're in the air. Man, the air current changes so much up there.
At the top of that hill?
Yeah. Gorgeous. I'm glad we thought about, guys, we spent so much time, Megan and I, talking about the lines and how we wanted to do our lines for flying and how we thought this would best work. and where we could appreciate the tree lines and where it would be in the way. And the tree line is gonna wrap about 30 feet to my right on that turn there. All right, we're trying again. You guys see, we also have this change in elevation there, this grading change. A little bit of thrust reverse just to make sure I don't run into a problem there. Out of the flaps altogether. Still relatively dead calm. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it. Here we go, drag this baby out. Drag it out, baby. Get it on the plane, use the elevator. Get it on the plane, get it on the plane. She wants to fly so fast. And if you ever get a whip like that, it's because you dragged it out too far, folks. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go this way. Oh, so cool. So guys, if you're brand new to the channel, this is what we do here on Brian Phillips RC. Obsessively, relentlessly at your RC service. We love doing it. We're gonna keep doing it. Pretty insane amounts of investment to be able to do this exact thing we're doing right now. And we hope to keep doing it and get even better as we do it. Take off landing flaps on the way downhill. Beautiful. Don't want to hit that alfalfa. A little bit of rudder, slow it down, get it flat. Oh yes! And then wind from my tail as soon as I touch down. Oh my goodness. Okay guys, we still have power. So we're gonna go a little bit longer. And by the way, show them the overflows real quick. I'm gonna take just a quick break. You guys see the overflows? The day that this pond filled up, we went from 7 to 8 feet below. You could walk across the silt dam that is now underwater. There's a silt dam, 240,000 pounds of rock over here that are this big and a little bit below. And it's underwater. You'll be able to walk out on the beach and walk along the silt dam. It's gonna be super cool. And that's also gonna keep that little area where that bird's flying, that's gonna be a silt basin. And then this area is gonna be clean. Because if you have to silt a pond like this with machinery, you're talking like 250 to 550, 650, $750,000 for real. Now, most people would just break the dam and throw it away. We're not doing that. So also the county had something to say about that, so we had to do it. Yay. But at the end of the day, we did a lot of features on this pond so that it wouldn't flood. And the first day that we were full, we were in our overflows.
Yep.
And everything was running and we didn't have a giant washout. And so our engineer that put a 36-inch pipe and then 5 inches above to 230s, which is insane, was probably right.
Right. If you've ever watched our updates, we both have said there will never be water in it.
It was literally in it the first day it filled up. But admittedly, we got an inch of rain the day before, and then we got 3 3/4 of inch the morning of, and then later that morning, another 3/4 of an inch, and then that evening, 1 more inch.
Yeah, we got 6 inches in just over 24 hours.
Yes, it is an insane amount of rain, and we're coming out of drought here. So very cool. Okay, wind's calm, taking off. So guys, the culmination of this huge drawn out project, it's the largest project we've ever done with regard to this channel. And it's by far the most expensive. And it's gonna be hopefully one of the more rewarding and exciting projects. And by the way, the dam runway is coming. It's just, we have to wait for the dirt to settle. Otherwise, we're gonna basically have a giant cracked, very expensive runway. And then also over here, there's eventually gonna be the dam gift shop down here, okay? So it's right over where I'm flying. I'll probably be flying through the rafters as I did that. And then where I'm flying now is the beginning of the runway. It's gonna continue, I'm talking the full scale runway. It's gonna be right along the high point. And it's gonna continue, 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 and then to about-ish there. And then I'll just do the same circuit without flaps. This will be a high-speed pass. This is gonna be the runway. You're probably gonna land opposite that. So then it's gonna stop about where I am now. I just stopped about where the lot's gonna end. Okay, so guys, that's gonna be the full scale strip, And so yes, there will be a little bit of effort. Camera crew checked on the manned aircraft. Aircraft is at altitude.
Mm-hmm.
So we should be fine. How high up? Way over the clouds.
Oh, way over the clouds, yeah.
So we're totally good. But that's one of the beautiful things about RC aviation is you are flying in the real deal, no BS, not fake environment. And that is one of the reasons why we love flying RC. RC fixed wing is where it's at, if you ask me. And if you ask the camera crew, it's definitely one of the hardest things to film, and she is very good at it. So we are very fortunate to have her on the team, both in life and in YouTube world. By the way, over here, there's a triangle, a huge triangle. A Huey landed over there. A real full-scale Huey landed over in that triangle. Okay, so I don't want to hit these stakes. You see where I'm going to come over? Take off flaps now. Ground effect is going to be weird because we're going down a hill. Those stakes are little baby trees. Let's fly just over the pond. Let's keep it over the pond. It kind of reminds me of an old video I watched years ago. I'm thinking it may have been Tail Heavy actually. They were flying a carbon cub off of like a little retention pond, hun, about the size of our retention pond where we used to live.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing about this plane is look, when it's calm like this,
Yeah.
you can force it down and you can stop it way quicker than I just did there. But the beautiful part of this plane is with thrust reverse, you can really command your surroundings. And I love the echo from the house. That's so cool. Okay, so get it up on a plane and just fly the thing. It's almost hard not to fly it because when you get on a plane, the plane wants to get out of the water. And the one time I did a wing slap was when I was trying to drag it out too much. And I'm getting used to the banks, guys. I should have let it go down there. I should have sunk down a little bit more.
That's probably about this. Well, it's kind of steep coming into the pond everywhere because you're coming off this hill that we're standing on.
Yes, exactly. That's true. That's true. Okay, forward thrust. Here we go. So guys, you'll notice we're still flying 5006S. I had a 4-minute timer on my radio. I don't understand why. I must have been like really crazy aggressive, or my battery was bad. There's the wind again. Jeez, wind shear and all. Too high speed pass, you good? Not a speed demon of a plane, and I don't really care because I don't want my plane to go fast. I want my plane to fly good. And flying good and fast are two totally different things. I'm just trying not to land it on the land.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so gorgeous. Oh, so gorgeous. Oh man, I pilot induced that oscillation there. See the wind up front? We're gonna have to get a windsock back here. I just realized that.
Yeah.
Because like it is very different back here. Look at that, look at that, full up elevator, or excuse me, full up aileron. There we go. Get her in the air. Oh, I picked something up. We have a goodie. Now I wonder if I could prop hang it way up a few mistakes high and see if that'd fall off. I doubt it. No? Oh, I did, I dumped it. So sweet.
Still got a little something.
And then I about went back. Oh, I still have it.
Yep.
Full landing flaps here. I lost some of it. I saw it fall off.
Yep, you lost one chunk.
It looks like a rope for shoring the plane. So guys, we're down to where we're at about, let's call that 10% power. So I think it's time to shore this thing and get it out of the water.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, this is a super big culminating experience for us. And so we hope we haven't overplayed it too much. Obviously, it is still a work in progress. There's still some imperfect details we're trying to work out. But we are so excited to be able to share this experience with you. And there's gonna be a lot more like this that comes. Hopefully it's gonna be a little less about the pond and a little bit more about the aircraft. But the truth is right now, This is actually one of the 2 planes that my camera crew promised that I could get. At the time, it was actually a different plane. Yes, I am backing up because of the wind veining. I'd like to bring it in forward. And this will be the first time that I've ever walked on this beach. I've stepped on it once, but it's the first time I've ever walked down to the water. I can see the silt dam, hon. Why don't you come over here and show them the silt dam too? This is so cool, guys. Right there. There it is.
Yep.
You can see it, you can walk out on it, and I'm gonna shore this, hopefully right at our feet, if it's not too bad on the wind vane side. Don't need a lot of speed now. I just gotta get enough to get to the shore. And look at this, it doesn't wanna turn. So I'm gonna do this instead. I'll go to thrust reverse, I'll let it wind vane. I'll just kind of help it along. And then I'm just gonna run it backward until such a time as the wind calms. Okay, the wind seems to have calmed a little bit. Nope. Okay, thrust reverse. Man, I had no idea how important that was gonna be.
Yeah.
And I thought it was calm this morning. So now we can either wait for the wind or we can bring it in under power. What do you want to do?
If you bring it under power now, can you just get it right here?
Well, yeah, I can bring it right to the shore.
Yeah, there goes all the tadpoles.
You guys see all the tadpoles?
I don't know if they'll be able to see them in the water.
That is so cool.
That's crazy.
So there it is, guys. That is the Virgin Flight, bringing it in on the water rudder, which is probably not ideal. As you can see, it's spring loaded when it hits the ground. Nope, didn't even need to. I kind of want to turn it around the other way though. You suppose I can now?
If you can get it all the way turned around, it'll push it back this way.
Guys, I know some of you are watching this thinking, Brian, you are lame on water controls. But I gotta admit, like, it's just like anything else we do on Brian Phillips RC. We're always trying to teach you guys the best way to enjoy this hobby. And I tell you what, learning a new skill like shoring an aircraft like this, it's what we do. Like, we're always learning new things. And look at the clouds up here. It's like the weather is saying, get out of the water, Brian. We need to rain bad. And so we're just doing the best we can to enjoy it all the way along the process. And it's super exciting. So we hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Obviously, the Carbon Z Cub is one of my all-time favorite planes, and it was super fun to fly it here. But you know what's even cooler? Is when I start doing smaller planes that are even better suited for this environment, you're gonna find out just how cool this really is.
Yeah.
And so I'm super excited. We got a beautiful backdrop here, and we're just really excited to be able to share it with you. Guys, if you're brand new, if you don't already know the spiel goes something like this. If you wanna support us, buy the planes, buy the float set, buy the batteries, buy the transmitters from the links in the video description below. It's the #1 best way to support us financially. Obviously, smashing the like button, clicking the bell for notifications, and subscribing is always much appreciated, and it helps us to combat all the different issues that come from YouTube pushing shorts all the time, okay? They want shorts, shorts drive ads, ads drive revenue. Google doesn't care about me, they don't care about you, they care about the almighty dollar. We care about this hobby. We do obviously care about money, just like everybody else does, but it's not like we're Google here, guys. We wanna bring you some value. We wanna help you make decisions on what's gonna work well for you. Maybe you watch this video and you said, that Carbon Cub covered too much ground in that video, which is interesting because that's a lot like what I was feeling. But I'm not used to this terrain yet.
I know, it's just...
And also we're gonna be flying from the dam, usually.
Probably
which is going
more.
to change our exact position. So I'm like super excited to see how this works out, and you know, just pointing different directions, filming from different angles. It's going to be super exciting.
It's going to help us a lot with lighting and daytime, you know, depending on when we fly too, to be down here. So
that's right.
It's just weird.
It's really neat. It's
cool.
It's a culminating experience, and we've worked our butts off. So get over here, camera crew.
Oh geez.
She doesn't want to be on camera. But anyway, so the camera crew is here. So hi, say hi. So obviously we worked our tails off for this. And so we really appreciate you guys being part of this. I hope we're on camera.
I don't know, we'll see, probably.
We'll find out.
Hopefully
so at the end of the day, we really appreciate you, camera crew, all the work you do. And so I know this isn't like the end of time or something like that.
Right.
But it's the beginning of a new stage. And so we're really, really excited. By the way, we will have a pond build video. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to flesh out, but we have footage. We have a literal time lapse from up there on the edge.
On the deck.
Of the deck.
The whole thing.
And we have the
process.
entire build, every step, with the exception of if the camera shut off, or like they got here really, really early and the camera crew forgot to start the camera or something.
Or a bird knocked it off, which only happened once.
Which has happened, well, I mean, in total, all those things a couple of times total.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting, and we can't wait to bring you that video. It's going to be really exciting.
Well, and you alluded to it as you were pulling in. When we moved out to the country, I said you can get a Carbon Z Cub and you can get the Freewing F14.
F14.
So you have one of those things and then like 500 other
500 other things. That's right.
But this has been in the works for a really long time.
For a really, really long time. Yeah.
That it's finished.
We searched.
We
searched for property for 7 years. It took us 7 years. We were living at our last place for 12 years. Okay. And so we knew that the writing was on the walls. We had kind of started the YouTube channel, helped to motivate us into seriousness, because we knew that it wasn't going to be permanent. And we were fortunate because the way the rules were written at the time, we were allowed to fly where we were. It was just kind of like unethical. But we had great neighbors. We had great relationships. And when people just like slowly started to kind of move on to bigger and better things, we were like, uh-oh, we're eventually going to have to make a move too. So it really lit the fire under our seat to make our own move, which was out to the country. But we hadn't found a place to build. And we couldn't find a place that met all our needs that was built. And the two that we did fell through for stupid reasons that we couldn't control. And it's a good thing, it was a God thing. So thank God that happened, because we ended up where we are. And then we ended up with that option, which was another God thing. Yeah, because that shouldn't have happened. And then that one over there, which is a God thing too, which shouldn't have happened. And so at the end of the day, all these things have been orchestrated for a reason, and so we're super excited to play a small part in it. Yeah. So pretty exciting.
And when you buy from the links or you follow the links and that kind of stuff, you're supporting our family.
Our family.
We have 4 kids. Like, this is a big part of
my obsession.
What we do.
This is my obsession, but the thing is, this part of stuff, this is not just my obsession. This is something that our family has been fighting for years, and it is not without effort. It is certainly not without money, and it is certainly not paid for, just to be clear.
Right.
We'll be paying for it for at least probably another 24, 25 years, probably longer. But anyway, the truth is we love it. It's worth it, every ounce of effort. I don't know, some days it feels like it's not, but then other days it feels like it is. So you guys are really helping, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, we do.
Obviously, we did without for many, many decades. Many, how many? Let's just say several decades.
Yeah.
We don't want to age ourselves too bad here.
We're old.
But let's just say a couple of decades worth of hard work and doing without, while we were still earning to do with. We did without, and that's how we ended up where we are.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't already make sense, and you guys aren't in a position where you have found that type of success, we want to encourage you to do it. So do without for a little bit so you can get what you want when you want it, okay? Because it's not always going to be an opportunity, and you don't live forever. Beer truck's right around the corner. So if you know the Carbon Z Cub and you've got a beautiful lake you didn't have to pay for, thank God, go fly on it if you can get away with it. And by the way, if you want to be compliant and you don't have a FRIA, you can plop a remote ID in there and you can be legal. Just remember, there's certain airspace restrictions. Fortunately for us, we're Class G, and we have worked out the details, let's just say. Because we're not lawyers, we don't want to get ourselves in trouble, and we don't want to get you guys in trouble. But really, the safest bet is if you want to stay out of trouble, get a remote ID module, plop it in your plane, don't even think about it, just do it, be done with it. And then move on to the next plane. You can carry it into the next plane, and you're fine.
Yep.
Or wait for Barney 5 to come up and then make sure you plop it in at that point.
Your compliance is between you and
the government. The government.
Not us.
And believe me, the government don't do much for us. So remember, we work really hard for this, and you guys help us, and we really appreciate you doing that. So at the end of the day, the Carbon Z Cub is what this video was supposed to be about, and it kind of spilled into the pond, and it's sort of this conglomeration. And we promise we're gonna try to avoid doing that every single time we show the pond. But we have a dock to build. at some point. Not exactly sure where that's going to go. We have to make some decisions, which is why we're flying. We also have to reflesh out the position of the damn gift shop. We have to reflesh out the route from the helipad, which is going to be on the extension of the main runway, to the helipad, and exactly see how that's going to lay out. And we have to have some time and some soak time to just kind of feel the way the land works and where the air goes and how the air currents work. And then we're going to make decisions on exactly how that fleshes out, which, by the way, one thing we didn't realize we were going to end up with when we built this is look at that little teensy-weensy little runway there.
Road that we have here.
Yep, there's a low point there, make no mistake. But at the end of the day, we could have another runway there if we really wanted to. And so these are the types of things, when you get property, you realize really quick you don't know all the answers you thought you knew about as quick as you get there, okay? And so we're learning every day we're here. Something new and exciting. Stuff we didn't want to know, most of it.
Usually. Stuff we have to go do.
Like buying tractors.
Cutting down trees.
And cutting down trees. And the number one tool that we've used since we bought this property is? Chainsaw. We have used the chainsaw. I've gone through probably 100 chains on the chainsaw.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It is insane, the amount. Get a Stihl chainsaw. Don't get the cheap one. Get the best one you can afford. You will use the death out of it. I promise you. I have beat the heck out of that chainsaw.
Yeah.
And it's also kept me alive. And I've not chopped my hand off or my arm off or my leg off or ended up in the hospital. I've never even been cut on it, just to be clear, even though I used to wear those skirt things.
Chaps.
No, I never wore the chaps.
Once.
I do have chaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nobody else wears those either, so if you tell us to wear them.
No, there are people that wear them in Canada.
Well.
They have maple syrup, though.
Yeah.
All right, if you're watching in Canada and I've just insulted you,
we're sorry.
There's Canadian links to the planes, too. So we appreciate you as well. All right, guys, that's all we got for you. Thanks so much for watching. We do have the unbox portion and the build portion. Oh, it was frustrating. Make sure when you're doing it, there's 4 mount points.
Yes.
Mark them, do them with like
Put them
less.
in the right order.
Yeah. Oh man, don't get away from the shore. Get up here.
You're gonna.
I'm gonna short it. I'm gonna short properly like I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
Which I don't, obviously. Somebody's shoes are in the way.
Just 2.
That is shoring it, folks. So now I don't have to worry about it floating away. All right, guys, that's really all we got for you. Thank you so much for listening to our heartfelt remarks. We hope that this doesn't off-put anybody. Sometimes when we share these things, we are genuinely concerned that people will think we're trying to like flex or whatever the kids say these days, or show off or be braggadocious or whatever it is.
Pretty sure that's not what they say.
That's not what we're doing. Really what we're trying to do is, I mean, and there might be a small part of my heart that feels that way because it is, we're very proud of what we've done here.
Yeah.
But we've done it with your help.
Yeah.
And so it would be very dickish of us to not share what we're doing with your help.
Yeah. And we've met so many of you and had comments back and forth with so many of you over the years.
And so many of you have helped us with this too.
Yes.
And I'm not just talking about sending money in PayPal or Patreon or whatever. I'm talking about you've helped us make decisions. You've helped us, you know, do weird technical things. We've asked advice. You know, there's lots of that's happened over the years.
The people we've met from all over the world with weird expertise that we've been able to lean on for stuff like this.
Which is crazy, because when you get into a YouTube channel and you find even a little glimmer of success, it is, and first of all, there's so many people that have done way better production than we have, and they've had less success, and we feel for you. And there's people that have done way crappier stuff and had more success than us, and they probably don't feel for us, but that's okay. we feel the pain. At the end of the day, it's a lot harder than it looks. It's definitely not without effort, and you guys have helped make it real. So we really appreciate that.
Yep, very much.
All right, so that's all we got for you. We hope this doesn't hit anybody in the wrong way, but it's been really exciting for us to share, and so we hope you guys enjoyed it.
And immediately following this clip, in the same video, will be the installation of the floats.
That's right.
You want to see how to do that.
Yep, and you can see how to do it. And by the way, if you guys want to see, this is pea gravel. Pea gravel is dirty, so like our feet are gross and dirty now.
Yeah, they're all dusty.
But it's okay.
It hasn't gotten rained on yet, though.
Because you're supposed to have a 1:11 ratio on your slopes for a sand beach.
Yeah.
And also it becomes a big maintenance issue. And that's why we went with this. And so obviously we're gonna have to push this out into the water over time.
Slough down.
And it's gonna eventually, so this is 40 tons or also 80,000 pounds, in case you don't know how to do that math.
Of pea gravel.
Of pea gravel, okay? So we did this beach, and of all the stuff that we did on this project, I was a little bit frustrated with my excavator on this because I think we should have dug down and backdragged. But that was kind of a last second thing, and it was mostly my fault. But the thing is, our excavator crew did an amazing job. There's been, you know, just a couple of little baby issues on a big project with a million issues to deal with, and they did
potential hazards.
Very good job on the absolute vast majority of this work. And it has been a beautiful pond. There's still a little bit of work. I want to build levees around these little areas because it flooded a little bit higher than we thought. And it's gonna go down. It's probably gonna be a few inches shallower during the dry season. And so that is a reality we're gonna have to then adjust to. But when it rains, it's gonna be between that inlet and those inlets. Under most circumstances. And so for us, we just have to figure out how we're gonna do that. And like I said, I wanna build a little levee around this row of trees and that row of trees. And that's just gonna help to let them dry out a little bit better. Because we didn't anticipate the, what do they call that? The bowl? The bowl, not the bowl.
What are you talking about?
The water level.
The water.
It's not called the bowl.
The pool level.
The pool level, there you go. The pool, I would say it wrong. So the pool level was a little bit higher than what I thought, but it's really cool up in the creek because I wanted that creek to flow straight in. And it's exactly what we wanted. So it's really, really cool. All right, guys, I'm gonna stop talking or I'll go forever. If I met you in person at Joe Knoll, I know I said that to a few of you because we would have kept talking forever.
We'd still be there.
We'd still be there. If we, actually, truthfully, we probably would. So at the end of the day, thank you guys. That's our heartfelt message is thank you for making this reality happen, okay? The next reality is gonna be the extension of the runway. The next reality will be a road connecting them and or dam runway. Or dam runway will come before the connecting road. It depends on how settling works. And the kind of the next reality is gonna be the pad for the building. If you're keeping track, the building pad needs to be built like a full year so it can overwinter and things can settle. Once it's settled, then we can start taking bids on the actual aircraft hangar, the agricultural building for our farm use. That's gonna have, you know, some extra space in it for maybe an airplane someday. But it'll have like tractors and stuff in there too.
What is?
There's a squirrel or something over there. So guys, thanks so much for watching. That's it. Stay tuned. Unbox build of the floats. And we did do a quick update into the radio. We made some changes because when we did this carbon cub, it was an early entry into the 637 TA, and we hadn't worked out exactly all the details yet. We worked those into our current radio setup in case you were to go and watch the Carbon Z setup, and then you realize like, hey, why didn't he do this, this, and this? Well, we do this, this, and this into the setup.
Because that was on the 8, and that was one of the first planes we ever had with thrust reverse.
That's right.
So we didn't have kind of our standard.
It was one of the first.
procedure.
It wasn't, I don't know that it was the first, but it was one of the first. Yeah. So, all right, guys, we surely have answered most of your questions. There will be more on the pond. If you have questions about the pond, you can ask them in this video, but just keep in mind there will be more answers and we will go into more details in our pond video. We'll probably voice over it. That'll lead to a million questions, and that's okay. I actually love talking about it. So go ahead and ask the questions. I'll try my best to get to them. I probably won't get to all of them. Don't feel wrong when I do that, guys. It's just there's only so many hours in a day, and we've been running like crazy people.
Yes.
All right, literally. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to buy stuff from the links. That is the #1 way you can financially support Brian Phillips RC, even more than watching the videos and watching the stupid ads that YouTube makes you watch. Yes, it is annoying that they watch 2 stupid ads at the beginning of every video. It's so annoying. When I reply to your comments and you timestamp it, I have to watch ads to get to the timestamp so that I can reply to your comment.
Yes.
That's how bad it really is.
But keep time-stamping stuff because that helps us
it does.
answer your questions.
Yeah, don't stop time-stamping because then like we know what the heck you're talking about because we have thousands of videos and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours worth of footage. So it's like impossible for us to remember.
Yeah.
All right, unbox coming. Stay tuned. YouTube. We're not going to unbox this thing because you've already seen it unboxed. It's amazing. This is the Carbon Cub SS 2.1 meter. Beautiful plane. It's amazing. If you have the old one that's blue, just remember there's some different part numbers involved And so we're gonna just take you out the door and show you something for the first time you've not seen, or maybe you did see in another video, I don't know. But all I know is the pond, it lives. We have a pond, and so we need to put some floats on that thing. And so we're gonna show you the new pond. It's in one piece. There's still not grass around it, but we do have a beach. It's a beach, yes. We cheated and used pea gravel instead of sand. And yes, there's still millions of sticks and things in the yard, but that's okay. It's all part of the show. The burn pile's gone, the build is done, except for a dock. And we have some trees to move, but we have to wait for it to dry out. In the meantime, we're gonna get some floats on and fly this thing. It's gonna be amazing. All right, so we have to get everything unboxed and we have to set it up. Now, I've had this sitting in my basement for many, many, many moons, like since when we did the first Carbon Z Cub. And it's one of my favorite planes, just to be clear. And yet, I have this pond and it's killing me that I haven't been able to use float planes, except for, I think we did some boats on there. Yeah. It was half full. So yes. Technically this will be the break-in period. So super excited. Now, give them a nice pair and squish them. Yes, these are pneumatic Dubro tires. They're very heavy. And I just wanna remind you that we have some amazing new squishy tires on the Super Timber. And so if you guys are looking for squishy tires, we're gonna eventually, I hope we're gonna eventually have something like that that we can install on here. And so my dream, my hopes and dreams are that I'm gonna be able to have one of these set up with the new squishy tires that are super light, because these Dubros are way better than the factory option, but they're super heavy, okay? Yeah. And the plane can handle it. But I wanna have one with floats and one with wheels. It's gonna be glorious. But for now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set this thing up with floats. So the instruction manual is a little bit lacking on this, AKA I don't know where it is in the instruction manual. And so we're just gonna throw caution to the wind. And in order to do this, we have to obviously physically mount everything before we can set up water rudders. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this thing upside down, and we're gonna basically take off the landing gear, because that's an obvious first step. You have to get the landing gear off. When I have to watch out for light fixtures, you know it's a good day, because that means the plane is huge. So.
I would help you, but
She can't really help me with this, because it's too big. Just warn me if I'm gonna run into something.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we've got that upside down, we're gonna show you the process. Now the landing gear on the current Carbon Cub SS are awesome. But one of the biggest complaints on this plane, and I know you know it, if you built this plane yet, it's gonna be the landing gear hardware. Well, we redid a lot of the hardware when we put on this landing gear. And so that means that we're gonna probably have an easier time than you do putting it on. So in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start disassembling all this stuff, because it all has to come off. Not a one part of it is going to be used, okay?
Okay.
So the first step for us is to get the screwdrivers. Well, step one is to build pond. Step two, you don't always have to build a pond, I guess. We're gonna undo all this hardware here. Okay, so we need a nut driver, okay? And I don't know what size that is, 5.5 millimeters maybe? No, way too big. 4 millimeters might be too big as well. Oh yeah, that might be it, that might work. Okay, cool. And then we have to get the correct size drive, which looks like about a 1.5. Yep, 1.5. And we're just gonna start taking stuff out. So keep in mind, whatever you take out, you can either put it in a baggie and save it for later use, or you can put it back on the plane. My suggestion would be put it back on the plane, or put it in a baggie. Whatever you do, do the same for as much of it as you can, so it's easy to find stuff later. I'm gonna put mine in a bag, but I'm already noticing one of the problems I have with this plane, and you guys probably remember this from when we built it, and that is, it's hard for me to reach the plane, so I gotta constantly be thinking about this. So, beautiful, we'll get that undone. This is one of my favorite landing gear sets because they splay out, and it's super cool. And it reminds me a lot of what we had with the turbo timber for the first time when we had the 1.5 meter timber and the 1.5 meter turbo timber. We had the splaying gear, but these springs are so much bigger. And I've never had a problem with them. I know probably some of you have, but it just depends on how crazy you are with your landing gear. Okay, so I'm just gonna take all the nylocks off first. And in true Brian Phillips RC fashion, we're gonna go ahead and film the whole process of this because we know that you guys are going to ask and want some assistance. And sometimes watching somebody else do it just makes you feel a little bit better about the prospect. And then you can sort of gauge how much effort it's gonna be. Now it looks like to get to this one, I may have to undo the strut, but I'm gonna try my best not to.
That's a lot of nuts.
I know, that's true. There are nuts in every direction. Okay, so I'm gonna take this pin out. It's gonna drop down. I'm gonna lay that next to it, and then that'll just allow this to get out of the way. Boy, that one might actually hold itself. Nope, it does not. Goodness gracious, how are you supposed to get on there? Remember how I was talking about the hardware being a pain in the butt?
Mm-hmm. This is what you meant?
Well, this is part of what I meant. So folks, if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC and you don't realize this yet, we have done thousands of videos. If you haven't seen thousands of videos, then just get ready. I'm gonna see if I can use a crescent wrench in here. I'm not 100% sure it'll fit. If it does not fit, then I'll see if I can move things around a little bit. This crescent wrench is obviously the best tool for the job, as you can tell by the terrible way it's fitting. Did you hear that bird?
Yes.
What if they could hear it?
I don't know.
Okay, it's two Orioles fighting, but
they're gone now.
Went out of the way. Okay, so these are all at least the same nut size, and I think when I'm done with this, I'll try to put this in the other way if I put it back on. Now, one thing I love about having the pond here on our property is because I don't have to transport this thing, because that's one thing that is kind of tough about this plane is it's big and there's quite a few parts that come off in order to subtract the wings from the fuse. But if you guys are used to transporting planes, as you know, the bigger you get, the more effort it takes to move them. And so that shouldn't really come as any surprise to any of you. And so I don't want to insult your intelligence. It's not like you guys are brand new pilots or anything if you're flying this echelon of airplane. If you are brand new to the sport or just maybe returning to the sport, can you push that back for me there? Mm-hmm. And you're thinking, hey, is this a good plane to get me back in the air? Oh yeah, this would be fine. It's very powerful. Keep in mind, it's a performance plane. Even though you could pretend that it's like a high wing trainer, it's really kind of a very capable, 3D capable performance airplane, STOL aircraft. So flight like you stole it, is that what that means?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, that's not what it means, but still, it's a funny way of putting it. All right, so I need to get my nuts out of here before they fall into the cavity.
Oh no.
I know, that'd be terrible.
That'd be bad.
So listen, I gotta undo this as easily as possible. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just slide these ones out first, okay? There's number one, dropping them into my hand, just putting them in the pile of nuts and bolts. Okay, so I got two into the pile of nuts and bolts, three into the pile of nuts and bolts, and then it goes limp right in front of the camera.
Oh man.
Awkward. So now I can just lay this here. Battery is charged, amazing. So now I can slip this over. This is magnetic, so it might, okay, there we go. And then we'll do the exact same process over here. Now, my hope is I can just put all these bits of hardware into one of the millions of bags that I have saved relentlessly over the years.
Just took some downstairs.
In a simple way to drive my wife nuts. And for no possible positive benefit other than that.
Thanks.
And then I'll just have to remember how to put that back together, which
right, easy peasy.
I'm sure it'll actually be not too bad. To be honest, that shouldn't be too bad at all. And then when I get the new tires, we can put them back on to the other one. So this stuff we'll set aside for a later date when we want to go back to the landing gear. And then we'll just take this little pile and store them away. Make sure you store this stuff away, guys. You are going to want your landing gear back at some point, I would imagine. Okay, so now, when ordering your parts for this, normally we say follow the links in the video description below and then you can just buy it. But we usually direct you through search results so that it's a little easier for you to find a slight variation from what we suggest if you want that instead. But in this case, you need to be super careful because the main float set is back ordered right now. Okay, so at the time of this video being filmed, hopefully it's back in stock. by the time you guys are looking to order it, if you're trying to order it in relative to the time frame of our video. If not, and it's still out of stock, the left and the right can be purchased separately for like 40 bucks each. And then this kit can be bought for like 20 bucks. So I think it's like $91 if you buy the whole kit and caboodle, and then you have to buy this too. So that's like the left and right, and one of the water rudders or two of the water rudders. I don't know if it comes with both. We'll find out what we got in this. And so my apologies for that. But this is for the Carbon Cub, the Carbon Z Cub SS, okay? The old blue one is just listed as a Carbon Z Cub, okay? And the original V1 of the Carbon Cub SS 2 meter looks almost identical to this, okay? So I have that one downstairs too. That's my older one. And then this is our newer one. But this is the part number we're using. We'll link to these, okay? But just keep in mind there's different sets. This one's in stock right now at the time of filming. And then what we're using today should be in stock at the time of filming, okay? So I think what we have to do is we have to assemble it. So we'll probably assemble the kit over here, and then we'll lay it onto the plane over here, okay? So next move will be to open the box. Normally we would start with an unbox, but you guys have already seen the unbox on most of it. So this is kind of killing me because I've been literally looking at this box for years wanting to open it. But about the time we got this, we were moving, right?
Yeah.
It was right when we switched from our old place to our new place.
Ponds. Yep.
We had 3 ponds that we could fly from, sort of. Well, 4.
At the time.
There was a really nice pond that was across the street. It was a super big pond. I don't know exactly how that would work now, but
Right.
I mean, that's obviously sub 250, right?
Sure. And that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
We're doing that.
So there's different rules involved. And
Yep.
so now we probably wouldn't be technically allowed to, but we'd still do it with a remote ID module or whatever. All right, so then we've got packing list from,
There's probably a date on
what's
there.
the date on this? Yeah, 2020.
Oh.
June 20th of 2020.
Oh, man.
It's been a long time, 4 years.
Actually, I probably thought it was longer, but...
Oops. Okay. So we took a little longer to get to this one
COVID
than normal.
floats.
Okay, so let's hope it's not like damage. Because it's discontinued now. I just want to make sure there's nothing good in here. I don't think there is. That's an empty box. Okay,
Just
good. So we'll just throw that over there in an organized fashion.
This does have the information on the end.
Oh, okay, good.
Because this would be the Carbon Z Cessna 150.
150
And the Cub. Yeah.
And or the 150?
This says
This
would have been
before.
pre-T.
This is pre-T. So guys, you need to be careful what you order. I'm telling you this because I care about you and I want you to find success. Now, also, I want to talk about the colors, okay? They may be redesigning the colors on these. So just make sure if there's a choice, okay, if you look, and our links will update. Okay, so we have a nice reinforcement on the bottom. We have no reinforcement here and no reinforcement here. It looks like it's a 2-piece. And then this is, I think this might be the 15 size.
No, the 15 size is smaller.
Oh, okay.
And that's the one that the color just changed.
Right, and that's what's for the 1.7 meter
Super timber.
Yes. But these ones match nicely. And I just want to point out something. They're ambidextrous, okay?
Oh, they are.
Look, I think they are. And the reason that matters is because if you don't like the decal or whatever, you could put that inboard. I think they're ambidextrous. But this matches, the colors are close.
I like
so
the
I'm
decal.
good with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It would be cool if they were silver, kind of like the ultra micro ones. Now also, I have heard grumblings from others. I don't know if this is true yet. We're gonna find out and test this. Not because I want to, but because it's gonna happen. Is that sometimes these things will leak.
Oh.
And if they do, that'd be a bummer. But the truth is, look, there's a water rudder and there's the plug. Oh, you know what? If these are ambidextrous, then you could actually get both of these and then you could have water rudders in both of them instead of just one. Because this is the right and the left, right?
Correct.
So if you guys
That's
want
the
the one with
left.
the water rudder in it, I'm not 100% sure if that's gonna be empty or not, but that would be the left one, okay? So if you guys are ordering this left and right, and you wanna eventually be able to put servos in both, I'm not 100% sure if you'll have to do that or if it'll come with it installed. If it does, just get 2 of these. And then you can have water rudders on both sides, which is totally sweet, okay? Then we have a little bag of tricks. This is what you're not necessarily going to get And that does concern me a little bit. Oh, and look,
Yep.
here's some instructions.
Oh, good. I was
Look.
hoping there would be some somewhere.
No, maybe not. Yeah, there is instructions. Yeah, buddy.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we have instructions. Camera crew's gonna look at that for
That's
just a quick
lot of
second.
instructions.
I know, I told you, it's not like a super easy install.
gracious.
That's why we're doing an unbox build radio setup, camera crew.
Okie dokie.
So now, just to be clear, folks, oh, you have to glue on there? What the heck? Why?
Where's glue?
Oh, you have to glue, those are splash guards. So you wouldn't absolutely have to glue, but you probably should.
Okay.
Those splash guards go over these vents, okay, right here. And so I don't know if we need to clean any of this first because we had some, you know, like splatters from normal use. So we wanna make sure we clean that up.
Okay.
The splatters from normal use. And I never saw the label. What does it look like? Oh, nice, look at that.
Models.
That's the original one. So guys, I just flew that plane at Null.
We did.
That is so cool. And the original one, not the new one.
Yep. The 150.
So thanks, Brad.
So this tells you what bracket position you're supposed to use depending on if you're putting it on the Carbon Z Cub or if you're putting it on the 150.
Yeah.
So we'll need to pay attention to that.
Yes, exactly. And so that was the other thing I was going to suggest is that just keep in mind
Those are in here.
that they are going to be different positions. And that part of the bracketry comes with the left and the right. I think the only thing that doesn't come with the left and the right separately would be the little splash guards and that sort of thing. Guys, listen, sometimes you just got to clean it in front of the audience, and that's what I'm going to do. Because I just want to make sure I have a good mounting surface, and then it can dry. Because I do not want water and schmutz getting up in there,
No.
because that can cause an infection.
Yeah, you don't want schmutz in your hole.
Well, I mean, not right away. Okay, so where is the plastic things that we have to glue? Why don't we get these things glued on there first with China glue. Okay, so we have the water rudder adapter. We have this thing, that's the mount. Whoa, we have a lot of screws. Oh, I hope these are the really crappy ones. No, they're hex drive. Somebody listen.
But they might be the wrong size.
No.
Hopefully not. So the ones with 3 holes are the front brackets, and the ones with 2 holes are the rear brackets.
Okay, and then these are the splash guards.
Yes.
And the water rudder that's spring loaded. Ooh, that's a soft spring. Feel my spring. Nice. That's good. Okay, so then this has the apparatus that actually mounts it on there. So we'll actually leave that off for the moment. This is what I'm most concerned about right this second.
Okay.
Okay, so obviously, and just to be clear, folks, this needs to go this way and not the other way. Okay, so that's gonna give us a splash guard. Do they tell you how far back to put it or anything? I think they just say they want good penetration, right?
Stick it in.
Oh, there's a hole. There's a pre-located hole. What? Look.
You suppose?
No way.
That
That just happens to be a void, right?
I don't.
That
kinda
can't
looks
be
like a
planned
hole.
out.
I don't.
There's
see
not a hole over here though.
Uh-uh.
I drag it along and it doesn't like penetrate easily. Okay. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some China glue on here.
That really looks like a hole in the front, though.
I know, it looks like it's by design, like a locator hole.
Yeah.
I just think I want to put it back further though.
Well, put it wherever you want. It's your hole.
$1 for every time. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pierce this. I'm just gonna look, I'm gonna eyeball it, and then I'm gonna just stick it in. Stick it in, stick it, stick it. Ooh, you see what's happening, guys? That's no cool.
No, you're gonna have to like
No es bueno.
pre-poke that.
I'm gonna have to poke it with something pretty sharp and skinny, huh?
Yeah.
So
like
what
your
about-
little driver that you already have
No,
out.
not that. How about
Why?
this? Because I wanna get, oh, that is the smallest size. I thought it had smaller. Sorry,
Sometimes
camera
I'm
crew.
right.
Whoa, that's
weird that it's like
It's really
deflecting
firm.
so much.
It's like a lot of resistance to my penetration. Wasn't this the one that we almost got people in trouble?
No.
Yes, it was.
Really?
Yeah, it was the other one.
Oh.
Okay, guys, look, foam to foam, China glue from China directly to your front step.
It's made in Europe.
Oh, wait, yeah, you're right. It's made in Europe.
Of the same
It
stuff.
has safety warnings.
Yes.
You can tell it wasn't made in China. Okay, so I'm gonna just do China glue. Why China glue? Why not CA, Brian? You never use CA.
Because you're lazy.
No, I have CA. And it's really close. Wow. Whoa, jeez.
It's a good fit.
Yeah. so I'm just gonna slide this in real quick. Just gonna see how it feels. I'm gonna stick it in both holes, all 3 holes actually. I'm just gonna slide it down and just give her a nice big goopy slather. And that's all I'm gonna do. And then I'm gonna pull out. And then I'm gonna just do that a couple more times until I'm satisfied. I'm bored. Are you good? Okay, I'm satisfied.
Okay.
Why do we pull it out, camera crew?
Because it's a contact adhesive, so you want to get it in the hole first.
Okay.
So
that's so that, yes, so we cook off the adhesive a little bit.
Yep.
Okay, so now I'm gonna slide this to the edge because it's not at all obnoxious to reach.
no.
I'm trying to come up with an angle where I can get to it. You guys may notice the little upgrades I put on each wingtip.
These upgrades?
Yeah.
Where you scrape the orange paint off?
Yeah.
Good job. Those are nice.
Okay, so this one is maybe not as well suited because it's like, it seems like these are definitely the same size,
Yeah.
by the way. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure that when I penetrate, I'm gonna be penetrating and it's gonna go cover the whole
Make sure
opening.
it's covering the corners. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think it's gonna have to be about there.
Okay.
And so I'm just gonna, hi-ya! Oh, see, that one went fine. I think there was something about like reinforcement up there, maybe. Maybe there's like 7 wires. It was
Right.
like all the central nervous system of the plane.
The whole, anything important.
Yeah, the ESC throttle. So now we're just gonna do the exact same thing, folks. We're just gonna put a little glue on here. I didn't know I was gonna be doing glue to install floats today, but you know what? There's a first time for everything. And there's nothing quite like slathering it with your wife on camera. Okay. Very good. All right, so see, gooped up nicely. Now we'll just slide it in and we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna go in, get full penetration, full depth penetration, and then we're gonna spread a little bit more because you see how it's wanting to resist?
Pop up. Yeah.
That's annoying. Why is it doing that? Am I hitting a high point on the foam or am I just not getting penetration into the hole? I think I'm gonna go ahead and follow because I don't wanna fight that in the future. Fortunately, this foam to foam is very clear, so it dries nicely in that regard. And so if you guys get this foam to foam, I think you'll be satisfied. I would have foam to foam and then I would have the other offerings from the competitive offering as well.
Glue on your tip.
I know. I know, it's awkward. It's already sticky when I started. There we go. See,
better.
it's not, but still, it's still wanting to lift on me.
Okay, it's not popping on this
So
side.
now I'm gonna pull it and I'm just gonna leave it.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna clean my tip off. Now, one of the best parts of China glue is that you can clean your tip off and you wouldn't be able to do that with CA. Although CA would have already set and it would have been glued and we would have been done talking about it. Seriously. But yeah, get some foam to foam and have that in stock and ready to go. See this, now when I peel it, that's the last time. I'm actually gonna go ahead and add a little bit more adhesive to this. I think it probably would be fine, but I'd like it to just not be a problem because that is kind of a water resistance item. I'd like to really keep it as water resistant as possible. So I'm just put a little bit more on there because I didn't add to the other side of that, right?
Yep.
And then this side's already tacked up, so I'll just go ahead and slide it in, split the difference, and then I should be good to go. I could either leave it there or I could pull it out and let it air out a little bit. I'll let it air out for a little bit, and then it'll be super tacky. All right, so what else do we need to do, camera crew? We gotta install all sorts of hardware.
Well, let's see. That was step 12. So if we go back to 1.
That was step 12.
That was step 12.
Okay.
We're going to figure out our bracket location.
Okay, so the bracket location, meaning on here. So we have
Yep.
the right and the left. And
So-
we have to do the 3 and the 2 holes.
For the carbon Z cup, we're using the back set of brackets.
You mean the back holes?
Yes.
Okay. So listen, guys, I'm dumping out my screws, just so you know. They appear to all be the same, and they're probably 2 millimeters. Yep, why would they be the same size as what I already had in my hand? That would be an impossibility. So they're 2 millimeters, almost certainly. That's 2 millimeters, should be the right size. And these look like a self-driving, self-tapping sort of machine screw here, but they are hex, which is nice. Okay.
Okay.
All right, where are we going? Bottom?
Bottom ones. So the rear brackets are the 2 holes.
Megan, which one's on the front?
The 3-hole.
3?
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to the back holes.
Yes.
Here. Okay, so right here, stick it in, give her a twist. And it doesn't matter which way, because these are ambidextrous as well, right?
Yes.
Which is nice, because if you build this as a left and then you destroy the right and you want to put another right on there, or you want to put another left on there, that's your prerogative. If you know you're not going to get the floats, you could just get 2 rights and then you would just have a decal mismatch. Which, like, who cares? Okay. I'm just going to throw that on the ground. No, it's okay, just leave it. Okay. And so what's awesome is this thing just pivots on the counter the whole time I'm working. It's awesome. You'll give me an extreme close-up of me screwing this thing?
Yeah.
So folks, if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC, what we do is we unbox, build, and radio set up these planes. In this case, this isn't a plane, it's an accessory for the plane. Do we use all 4 screws?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have to fill all the other screw holes?
No.
Does it say to?
I'm reading while you're screwing.
Why don't you show the people what you're reading, since this is such a high energy topic?
Assemble front and rear correct position for your aircraft. Secure them with the included screws. See illustration for correct location. Install the front and rear horizontal struts included with the wire mounting set for your aircraft.
Hey, hold on. This says Carbon Z Cub,
Yes.
right?
And the other option is for the Carbon Z 150. This does not, this specific one is for the SS. So I think it's the same. This doesn't specify, it's just Carbon Z.
So just to be
Cub.
clear, there was a time when there was a blue version. That was called the Carbon Z Cub,
Yes.
okay? That was a 2 meter or 2.1 meter or whatever it is. I think this is 2.1, I think that was 2. But either way, this one is the newest version of the 2 that looked like this, that had orange finish on them, okay? So that's why we're questioning things.
Right.
And why I'm questioning things of the camera crew right now. So far so good, really easy build, just lots of small steps. Okay, but there's a lot of potential for failure still between here and when we're flying off the water, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the answer?
No, you aren't filling all the screw holes. It doesn't say anything about that. And I don't know if you would even have enough screws.
Yeah, I don't think we would either. There's just a lot of screws, folks.
Yeah.
So like this might be one of those times, one of the rare occasions where I would reluctantly say, go ahead and use a drill. I don't use a drill on these steps because if you use a drill and you torque it in there too bad, you're gonna ruin the hole, you're gonna ream it out, and it's gonna be done.
I thought you were complaining about the amount of screwing.
Well, I mean, it depends. I don't want it to like just get worn out and chafed. Wait, hold on. Where am I going with this one?
Back. Back and back.
So the Carbon Z Cub likes it in the back.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I
That's what it
just
says.
wanted to make sure I wanted to make sure that I was getting proper consent first.
Then we're gonna do Carbon Z Cessna. That's not what we're talking about.
Oh, by the way, these floats can be interchanged between the models as well.
Yes.
So the only thing you might want to do is you might need to be a little bit creative. This is not, you know what? I'm wondering if this isn't even metric at all.
Yeah, remember, these are the weird 2 millimeters
Look.
that aren't quite 2 millimeters. That's what we had the problems with the landing
No
gear.
way.
Yes, yes, yes.
Are they 2.5?
No, they're not quite 2.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, so I have a 2.5 here.
Traumatic.
I do remember the traumatic brain injury I had that stopped me from smelling things.
No, see, that's not too big. It's a sloppy 2.
It's a 2.25.
Ruben's got one of those. sitting around.
2.1, it's 2.1 meter.
2.1.
So obviously the Chinese read the wrong spec. So they were like, you wanted 2.1 meters, we thought.
Right,
Millimeters.
millimeters.
Wrong. That was not right, the Chinese cheat. Okay guys, we're gonna get this screwing done. And we've got another 6 more of these screws to do, and then we'll probably come back because this is pretty boring. We took a break from screwing because I got worn out. I need a breather. And so I'm gonna stick these down because it's been a couple of minutes. So now that I stick that down, that should be rather strong. And this one's just rolling around up here, but remember, we already penetrated, we already put it in position. And like, look, it's like almost dry to the touch. But watch this. When I stick this in here, look, the Chinese stick together, guys. Look, that's how you know. Look at that. Look at that. Pretty strong stuff, right? Holds it down. No lifting, no issues. Okay? Makes sense? And then I got a little booger up here, so I'm just rolling that off right now like rubber cement, like back in the day in elementary, or for some of you, high school. Just depends on if you were good at school grades.
School grades.
School grades. If you're good at doing grades.
What does that say about you?
Over again. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna screw some more and then we'll come back. Okay, so I noticed a phenomena on all of these holes so far. This is the last of 16 holes, okay? So look. Just tightening, 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 nothing. But yet it comes out. Okay, that's the one and only one that I over tightened evidently, and this thing's hot, by the way. Okay, so every other one of them, it felt like you got to the bottom and then you had to go a little bit further and it would like pull the nut zert up inside internally. So basically this one is out of total pretense now. There's nothing going on in here because I think the nut zert is basically spent or gone or not working properly. I'm gonna just try one more time. Yeah, I don't understand what happened there. But anyway, luckily out of 16, there was one that did that. Reason we show you these things is because when we do reviews, we want you to understand that what you're getting is quality, and any sort of deficiencies that we find in quality, especially if it's deficiencies in my piloting skills. We want to make sure to share those because at the end of the day, we're here to help bring you guys value, and part of the value we think we bring you is that we can show you whether or not something is worth having. And to me, worth having includes whether or not it's actually going to do what they say it's going to do, okay? So we have a linkage here. We have a rod. We're going to slide this through. Now, obviously, this needs to be held in there somehow, and it's going to be held in by what? No less than this beautiful little beast here. There's a set screw, probably 2.5 millimeters. Conveniently, I think I have that here. Oh, look. And then we have some other screws here. You told me I didn't have enough to put them all in. And that's true because I'm going to need those as set screws for the wires, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Or some such thing.
Yep.
Okay, look. So now we've got that out of the bag. We'll lay that down. I feel like somebody was moving my nut and bolt sacks. So now I'm going to take this. Which hole does it go into? The inside hole or the outside hole?
It appears to be the outside hole.
Really?
Yes.
So let's just talk about this for a minute. If I went to the inside hole, does that mean I would get more throw? Or if I went to the outside hole, does that mean there'll be less throw? Because if I had a choice, I would choose to have more throw.
Will it even reach if you put it on the inside hole?
Goodness gracious. How do I even get that in there? I'm gonna have to grab some pliers. I feel like I'm getting serious now. Watch this. That thing is thick though.
The
See
rod?
this? Yeah. I have to grab the rod and then look. Ooh, I gotta pay attention. Is there an up and a down? There really kind of isn't that I can tell. Well, wait. Wait, what does it say on the drawing? Because this is different.
The set screw's gonna go in from the back, so does it matter?
Just look at the drawing. Does it show this on top? Yeah, this goes on the top. I don't know that it matters. So I need to lead with this. Oh my goodness, that was awkward. Okay, so that's there. I'll slide this in. I'm gonna slide that up. I'm gonna slide that through. I'm gonna wiggle it all the way to the top. And then I'm gonna find the center position, but only after I grab, you know what, my XBC battery checker. Bam, like that. I'm gonna stick it in a hole, get it powered up with a 3S pack, not that it matters, and 57%, not that it matters. I'm gonna go negative that way, so brown toward away from me. Click, servo test, boom. Now I can go to the center. That does not look quite right, does it? Is that centered?
Seems about centered.
I guess it's gonna be centered because we're gonna center it, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna take my 2.5 millimeter, and that's the wrong size. I'm gonna take my 2, and that one fits. Doesn't feel real sloppy. And then when I come in here, I'm gonna hold this sideways, sorry camera crew.
Sorry.
And then I'm gonna set the set screw in there, and I'm gonna turn it a little bit. Now, you could hypothetically use a little bit of thread locker, but I want to warn you, if you use thread locker and it gets on your plastic, there is a high probability of failure. I'm going to give you a 90% failure chance, okay? So because this is metal on metal, I feel like it's going to get the job done. That feels pretty good, okay? Now, I also want you to pay attention to the slop up and down. If you want to lock the slop one way or the other, now would be the time to do it, okay? I don't know if we need to lock it up here so it stays tight, or if we want it to drop down. Honestly, I think we probably want it to be up high. So you see how you can push that up? I'm holding it up the whole time, and then I'm gonna drop this down just a little bit. I don't want it to make like a rough bearing surface. Oops, it's kind of turned a little bit to my left. See, it's pulling it to the home position of the flat that they machined into the shaft, okay? So that has it kind of kicked over here a little bit. You see that? Mm-hmm. So that's not maybe ideal, because look, that ain't no square, that ain't no straight. Like I said, that's not straight. See? There's one side, there's the other. There's straight, that ain't straight. So how the heck do I fix that? Do I have to do surgery to fix that?
Oh, man.
I don't know.
How critical is it that it's exactly straight for just being a water rudder?
It's as critical as any other rudder. I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna try loosening this just because I want it to be square. And I'm gonna see if I can go up and get off of the flat. Now see, it pulls it as soon as I tighten it. You see it pulls it? I wanna try this again. I'm gonna back this off a lot. Drop it out. Ah, that's how we adjust it. We should be able to adjust it right here. Okay, see, watch. I'm gonna hold this really hard. Look, I'm gonna tweak it. Booyah. 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 There we go. Did you guys see how I did that? I just used the word booyah and it bent. Okay, I'm gonna hold that up this time and I'm gonna hold that down slightly. Not so it's like held tight, 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 tight. Come on now, don't screw me over. Okay, torque it, torque it. I'm just gonna hold this here and just bend it back a little bit. Yeah, there we go. You can just mechanically slide it on the shaft a little bit and it'll go, okay? Amazing. So now it's somewhat straight. I feel like I could go more. That is like really shoddy. I'm not real thrilled with that. I'm doing the sweep now. Okay, love it. And it works. Okay, to the center. Unplug it. This thing's ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
Might as well mount it to the plane.
You got 11 steps left.
Dang it. And let me guess, it's like the 11 steps we skipped getting to this step.
No, actually that was step 3. You only skipped step 2.
I only skipped step 2?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So now what do we need to do? All the frame members. Okay?
Yeah, so we need our strut set.
Okay, so the strut set, and we have a bunch of screws here. We're not gonna use the 2.5 ever, right?
I don't think so.
So I can just throw that away.
Throw it away.
Throw it away in the garbage can forever. All right. And the strut set is something that you buy separately, just to be clear.
Because it's specific
to your airplane. Which is why it's separate, and so don't think they're trying to rip you off. I mean, well, you can think that if you want, but the truth is that's not what their objective is, because normally when you get floats, you get all the stuff you need. Well, in this case, it's because this float set is shared between the Carbon Z Cub and the Carbon Z.
Cessna 150T.
Thank you.
And the Turbo Timber SWS. So all 3 of them have different strut sets.
That's right.
Or if you have an old blue Carbon Z Cub.
Yeah, which is different.
Yes, still different. Are there directions in there? It doesn't look like it.
No, there's not.
Okay.
So we'll have links so that you can see we don't necessarily, the part number's not necessarily relevant because it might actually be different now. This has been since 2020 we've been sitting on this.
Right.
And so we're just gonna have the camera crew go through my nut and bolt sack there. Hon,
Man, that was a lot of screwing today.
I wonder if I could put this thing in there. Oh yeah, that would be so good. No, not
Nope.
gonna work. Too small. These are pretty huge.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to like dedicate a whole box to them.
You probably have the original bag for your DeBro tires downstairs, so you can put them in later.
Come on. Are you showing them stuff?
I don't know.
Holy cow, look at that. If I needed to weld something.
There you go.
Wow, those are huge. Okay, so this is the front one or the back one? I'm gonna assume that's the front one. The huge one's the front one, right?
Yes, the big one is the front one. The smaller one is the rear.
Okay, so the big one has only one place it can go, which is right here and right here, okay?
Okay.
So once they slide in, the middle hole is the big hole, the outside holes are small holes.
But how do you know which way is the front and the back?
Just by using rocket science.
Okay, I'm just asking, because like I don't know.
Applied my rocket science and logic
Okay.
to the brain surgery. Or whatever it was. I don't know exactly how these work. These I'm not sure about. There's two bent ones like that.
Okay.
And I don't know what they're for.
Okay.
This here, there's a bigger and smaller hole. Oh crap, there is a forward, Megan. You didn't tell me that.
No, it doesn't say that.
Is there a forward and a backward?
Yeah.
There is, son of a biscuit lover. So which one is it supposed to be?
The big hole goes, but well, is that
Just read it.
That's just says rear bracket. But I'm assuming that means the big hole goes in the front.
Does it say? Can you
No.
read that?
Carbon Z cub strut bracket location. Asterisk.
Okay, so hold on. What does the picture show when it's all built?
It doesn't.
Please check.
I'm looking.
Because I'm gonna have to unscrew 8.
No. That one's
The
right.
big one is in the back hole, right?
No.
The big one
hole
is
in the front is the way I would read that.
No, I need you to look at the actual drawing of the floats. There's not a picture of it built?
Here, G.
Jeez.
So the one closer
this
to me.
one's correct, guys.
Yes.
So the bigger hole, it's very small difference, okay?
Yep.
So the big hole goes forward, the small hole, do you see them here? This
Yes.
is backward.
Yeah, that one's backwards.
So I have to switch this. We'll pause while we do that and come right back. All right, so we reversed this so that the bigger hole's in the front and the small hole's in the back. So they now agree strategically, okay? So this is gonna go in here. Okay, now I'm just gonna slide that through and then I'm gonna slide this other side through. Now keep in mind, you do kind of have to be a little bit strategic about how you line these holes up, okay? Because once you line it up, my suggestion would be you get these started. That's why you have extras, okay? And these things are spacers, okay? So they're gonna go down and bite or not, okay? And then what I can do is I can see this one's got the flat. So I'm gonna spin that until the flat is upright, the machined flat. Okay, now I can pull this toward me just a hair. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this screw a little bit and just find that spot where there's a machined flat. And that's gonna hold it really good, okay? So now the machine flat's up. Now, I'm not gonna screw anything on this side yet. I'm gonna come back and screw this side next, or last.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and that way, this is just kind of in here because I was excited, okay? This is gonna go in, and so what I wanna do is I wanna get it so it's just almost to the edge. So I can hold it upright, push it till it hits my finger, okay? You guys following what I'm saying here? Because the idea is if you don't hit the flat, they'll be allowed to loosen and twist out, and that's a real mess because you don't wanna be out on the water and have your nuts fall out, or your bolts, or your screws. Okay, go till it spins it, and then this thing won't spin, okay? So I'm trying to spin it with my fingers, and it's not spinning, okay? This one's just loose right now. So I wanna get the main supports in next, because remember, we don't even really have this side lined up yet. So this is gonna go in, and the idea is if you're patient about the way you do this, it's a pretty easy build. It's just more a matter of you don't wanna get in a circumstance where you have to undo like 14 steps because you realize like one of your holes is in the wrong direction. Because then you'll be like, that's annoying. Okay, now watch. You can see when it gets excited to see you. Watch this. You can see when it gets excited to see you. Oh yeah. She's excited to see you. So there you go. So it's excited to see us, and now it's torqued down tight. So now remember, everything on this side first, then that side, because then you can slide that float on.
Okay.
It's gonna be hard to line up 17 different things though. So you might wanna start lining up a little bit at a time.
And
okay, so I've got 2 tips penetrated.
The directions say the rear strut should angle toward the rear of the aircraft.
Yeah, I already
And
know
then,
that.
okay, and the front's toward the front.
But then look, these go up. Look, I have angular ones. These ones are gonna go in here like this, and then like there, you want the longer one goes into the bottom, okay? So let's fold this up. We'll just lay those down. See, I'm just getting my tips penetrating. These can be added at the end. They're easy to add after it's been squished together lengthwise or widthwise. Okay, once this is in, same thing. She's gonna be excited to see me at some point. And so I'm actually gonna let that fall down so you can see when I get the engagement of the screw. See, excited to see me. Look at that. Now remember, no Loctite, no stupid funny business here. Just tighten them. If you want to try to Loctite anything, do it with CA. Don't use Loctite, okay? Because it's plastic, it's just gonna destroy it. And then this wire eventually will chase. Why did they come back here to exit? Look at this. They put this tape on backward. Look at that. There's a hole right here. It comes out here, and yet they came out that side. Oh. This wire has to exit here and go right up. So why did they come all the way over here with this? Ugh, so annoying. I may end up redoing that. Because this...
Was it to cover over the hole to make the hole waterproof?
Water resistant? Yeah, yeah, maybe that's what they did. I don't know. It's still stupid because it should come out over here. You'd think they would have engineered that in. And they probably did, and somebody screwed up at the factory. Okay, I'm gonna slide this together now. So now these all just get pushed until they're at the right width. And the way you can tell is if the camera crew would come around now, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. Look, if you push too hard, it's gonna poke out the other side. You wanna just get it to the edge. Okay, there is a little bit of springiness to this, so just be aware. You may have to work it. Camera crew, I have 2 hands. Can you help me with this, please? Right here. Okay, so you see how I push that to the edge? Just to the edge, and then I'm gonna tighten this until it's held. Once I tighten it until it's held, then I can torque it down really nicely, and then I can do this. You see how I push that over? That's gonna actually get us where we need to be. The camera crew's extra set of hands makes a big difference because this thing is slick. Try not to break the bottom of the bow by pushing too hard. Mm-hmm. Okay, remember, if you over tighten these, you will crack that plastic and it will ruin its bite. And then you're pretty much out the whole system. Okay, so be careful. Careful, folks. Okay, so we're, nah, not this time. It was just on that, it was wanting to spin on me. Okay, so then one more screw and then all the sets are set except for the angles. The angles, and in true Horizon fashion, we have the exact number of screws, which is always like difficult to understand because I know how hard it is for manufacturers to get the right number of screws in a package because I've sold many, many, many very expensive systems to help people count screws and nuts and bolts. Okay, very good. All right, so there it is, guys. You got floats, amazing. These now have to get installed and they're gonna go at an angle, so I wanna install them over the top of all the framework. Hold that, please. That does not fit. I'm gonna throw something if these are in the wrong spots. It is possible that these are in the wrong spots. It is possible that they're in the wrong spots, which means I have to redo this entire assembly.
This picture doesn't look any different.
Here, let's do a test then.
In the whole size.
Let's do a test, because maybe it isn't, and that would be a great problem. Because then we just gotta figure out how to get that giant shaft rammed into that tight hole, which can be fun. If this fits. Okay, so I have to undo all of this and we'll be back. All right, so these got switched. So now the bigger hole's in the back. So I'll show you the bigger hole now slides right in, and then this needs to go up there like that. So now I just torque it down. This one is not machined with a flat, okay? And then this side to side piece, since I don't have it bit on the other side, I need you to slide it in and put it until it hits my thumb and just kind of hold it still while I get this one started again. I did put a little arrow on each of the squares with an arrow going forward because I'm like, I'm not doing that again. That was pretty frustrating. And I can't imagine people taking these floats off and moving them back and forth between planes that many different times, because the truth is, if you did that, you would have a heck of a time. I think what you would instead do is you would probably have just a second set of these floats, is my guess.
And if you take them off your plane, you're gonna leave them assembled like this.
Yeah,
right?
Probably. Well, I mean, just depends on if you have a room. I think that's people's #1 holdup with these things, or one of the #1 holdups is space. I do not think they cross like that, by the way. That's just the way I left them. They might, actually. I'm not sure. But that cross brace goes up into the bottom of the plane, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But I got to tighten this still, which means, see how that moves in and out? It changes the geometry of the floats. So I'm gonna, camera crew's gonna hold right here. Put your hand the other way. Thank you. Okay, and we'll just torque this down. And then that gets everything trued up. Okay, you can let go, please.
Okay.
Okay, so once that's tight, then you want to go through and make sure you get them all tight. I did not have this one tightened yet. That's why we don't like those screws. Tight, 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 tight. See, slipped. Tight. Okay, so the assembly itself is done. Now we just have to figure out what we're gonna do with this. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this. If I'm just gonna glue this down or tape it down or what I'm gonna do. I might use white electrical tape. And then depending on how I tie this on here, it'd be really nice if I could make that somewhat disappear, but white electrical tape is not gonna make it disappear very well since it's on a galvanized steel piece of material here. So let's just get this physically installed first, which should be a pretty straightforward process. Now there's a pass-through right here for the servo signal wire, right? Does that really not fit any better than that? That doesn't seem right, hon. Those things don't fit. I don't know why they don't fit. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop.
I was just showing.
Oh, that's because they go into this thing. This thing mounts in there. Okay, that's right. I forgot there was a bag of goodies. Oh. This bag of goodies exists.
Okay.
I knew it was in there. I just didn't pay attention close enough to realize that it was there. Okay, I'm gonna come over here to the table. You can stay where you are or whatever.
Okay.
So this needs to receive this whole apparatus. And I think it goes like this. These just slide into there, like that, see? So once this is in.
Oh, that just goes over the top of them?
Yeah, I thought they went in those little holes and I'm like, there ain't no way in heck. Okay, so that's down. Then this just has 2 screws, so 1, 2 screws. And this is gonna drop in there. How does that work actually? Because that, clearly it goes into this spot. I'm not 100% sure how that goes. I might need to look into that a little bit. I know the front ones are pretty simple. We could do those. Gosh, this gets really tight really fast.
It's a lot to work around.
Okay, so I'm dumping this stuff out, guys. Look, there's these things.
Okay.
These things are tapered just so. And so I think this one goes right there. Yep. And then this one goes just here. And it's gonna fit perfect if you got it right, okay?
So it's like the thicker side goes to the back.
The round side goes to the back. The round side.
Okay.
Okay. And then I've got these screws. These screws appear to be the same, but I'm still gonna just be kind of careful and cautious. Uh-oh, there is a different one in here. Look, these two are different. See, like that?
Okay.
Those are different, and then all the rest are the same. Gosh, I don't know which one's which. Did the instructions say anything about that?
I would have to actually go read the Carbon Z setup.
Let's see if this goes. Well, I'm glad we started with a big one, because if this was any smaller, this would be super annoyingly difficult.
True.
And by the way, you gotta say, this size is hefty and exciting.
It is.
Do you remember when we moved to the country, how you said I could get this, and then what was the other plane you said I could get?
An F-14.
The Freewing
F-14.
F-1480. Weird, I don't have that yet. I mean, I got like another 400 planes.
I was gonna say, me lacking in.
Yeah, well, maybe I can get the 64 now. That's all right, guys. Motion doesn't like us, so screw them. Anyway, back to the point. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
Sometimes the truth hurts.
Truth hurts. Okay, so just going in the hole here. And then over here, we've got one more screw that needs to go right here. Sorry guys, I'm hoping you're seeing any of this because you're probably seeing it better than I am. Because I'm working by feel here basically. And by the way, this hardware is way better than the hardware that comes in the Carbon C cup, which is ironic. We've had a lot less problems with it. Okay, now I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. I feel like there's something I'm not doing right. So I'm gonna look at the drawing again. And no, I'm not twisting it.
No, it's okay. We probably need those directions.
Battery and radio hedges on the fuse. I was looking at the wrong plane here, guys. That's the Carbon Z T, or this is the Cessna 150T. This one goes in. Oh, for God's sake, they don't even show the part that's confusing. Of course they don't. Why would they? Okay, all right, well, then I'm gonna go back to guess and check until I get it.
Okay.
So there's something I'm doing wrong and I'm not 100% sure yet what it is. Maybe this goes in here. Maybe this goes in here. Seems like I'm putting a lot of pressure on that. I think that's the whole.
That does not seem.
That does not seem right. But you see what I'm talking about? Like right there? Because look, those go in there, don't they?
Yeah, looks like it.
So if these weren't here, and this was here, would that slide in? Let's try.
Can you get that started? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna hold the plane from the bottom so I don't damage the plane stand. Okay, so now if that's down, it's kind of really not.
There, it clicked in.
Now it's down, but the thing is, look at how those angles are gonna go though. It does not seem right. Are we 100% certain we need those?
It says if yours comes with the angled piece, then they go in.
Okay.
I think now that you have the side closest to you snapped down, it wasn't snapped down before, so now, but you gotta be able to get back out though, is the problem.
It'll come out. It'll come out, maybe. Oh, for freak's sake. Okay, we're gonna get that out and come back. So I got a flat blade screwdriver, I put it in here, and then I can pry it, not with the front, because I don't want to damage things. I use the back where it's round. And that gave me an edge to get that lifted out, okay? So that was not real desirable process. I'm still not 100% sure how this is supposed to be going. But it definitely would appear that these things, unless those are supposed to be from the front, it fit in that side, just not this side. This side's got damage on it. That's why it won't go. I'm gonna get a Phillips screwdriver and see if I can ream the hole. Look. I can't get that in because this hole's not reamed opened. Look, now it's big.
Oh.
I tried sticking it in the tight hole, and I should have stuck it in the sloppy hole. And guess what? Guess what?
Oh, sheesh.
No, guess what?
What?
That did not feel perfect. I thought I was gonna have to flip those stupid brackets again. I was about to pop a gasket. Oh, it fits perfect. Holy cow, that was very strangely not easy, and yet worked perfectly. Okay, so now I need to, holy crap, those things are under some major tension.
Yeah, they are.
That does not seem right to me. So let's pretend that those were going to the front. Would they interlace? Would they overlap properly? I have a hard time believing they would overlap right.
I don't think they would.
I don't think they would overlap.
No. They'd run into that middle
But if
support
they
piece.
would, and I had those things in right the first time and I just got really, really unlucky, then that means that the support would have been on the horizontal support would have been on the inside. Is there a picture?
No.
What about on the box?
No, because it's the Cessna 150T on the box.
Okay, pause. Okay, so we're gonna screw it.
Okay.
Because we looked in the instruction manual and it said that basically you're supposed to put them in the backmost hole.
Yep,
so.
if it comes with angled brackets, they go in the back hole of the front set.
Yeah, so we're doing it right, we believe. We just want to make sure, guys, when we pause like that, we're just double checking we're not giving you wrong information. Sometimes we do on accident. It's always on accident. We try not to mislead. Truth is, I'm sure it probably wouldn't make that big of a difference one way or the other. You'd either would reach or you wouldn't, period. Okay, so those two screws are in. And then we had like a bunch of other screws. I'm not 100% sure what they're for. Look.
Yeah.
There's different size screws here, and then there's 4 additional. Is there somewhere? But guys, this is what we were worried about, this. That bend. It's just kind of scary because it's a lot. But whatever, it seems to be holding. Okay, so now the next question becomes, we have to get the wire passed through the fuse, and that's gonna get us back to where we need to be for the rudder.
The rudder?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the rudder needs a Y cable so you can steal the signal from the channel. But I think what happens is you're supposed to chase this. I'm gonna just try to chase this just kind of loosely the way I think it's gonna end up, and then we'll, you know, we'll tidy it up after we're done. Okay, so we'll bring it down here. We'll go under this thing, and I think we can just pass through this opening here. Okay, so I think this goes right into the cavity, if I remember right. Okay. Yeah, that's gotta be, that's going somewhere.
That it is.
So now, okay, so the next question is, before I tie that up, I should probably double check and make sure we're in the right spot.
Okay.
So I'm gonna flip this over. Should be able to put it on its floats now.
Floats. Can we
That's so
grab
damn cool.
the plane stand?
Yeah, that would be helpful, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and I wanna get my water rudder off the edge just to be on the safer side. So now, in order to get to the receiver, on this plane, they give you access right here, but there's also a screw, okay? So the screw is 1.5 millimeters, I assume? Nope, it's 2.
This thing is so tall now.
I know, it's big.
Okay.
So we're gonna go into 2 millimeter. And if you guys didn't know, this is a tow hook system you can use as well. So I'm gonna undo that screw, and then this comes right off, and there is the receiver. So now what we need to figure out is,
Where is the
where is the wire? And I see, I see lots of wires, but I don't necessarily see that wire. The good news is it'll be relatively easy to get with a pair of forceps. If you guys don't have a pair of forceps yet, you should get some hemostats, forceps. These things are invaluable. Where did the Y cable go?
Yeah, it's right there.
So we have a Y cable, and we need to get this plugged in to steal the rudder channel. And what I'm gonna do is I'm probably just gonna go ahead and move this cable around wherever it goes in, okay? See if I can see it. And probably I'll be able to pull all the slack up here. Okay, now I'm gonna flip the plane over. The camera crew is gonna help me look. I'm gonna wiggle it. I just have to be careful about stuff. Okay. I don't want to get janked in the face by these antennas. What is moving around so violently? Is that the floats?
No.
Do you hear that?
I do.
That's
Is the
crazy.
battery tray?
No. It just feels, oh, it's the struts. Okay, so I've not seen the wire fall yet. I can definitely see the bottom of the fuse. So now the other thing I can do is I can open up.
The front.
Is that stuff out of the way?
Yep, it is.
Because if I set this foam thing down on top of something, it's gonna damage it permanently, in case you were wondering. So, pop the hood. Well, I can definitely see it now.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to wait for the camera crew to be here, I guess, so she can point down there.
I can see it.
Right there. Okay, so I'm gonna try to stick my hand in here. My hand is probably too big. It's too big, so the camera crew is gonna stick her hand in there and get the wire. Just put your hand in so you can see it. You guys should be the only loose wire.
I know. Oh.
And once you get it, then I'll get the hemostats and grab it. Her hand fits through the opening, mine doesn't, unfortunately.
I got it.
Okay, so she has it. We're gonna pause and come right back when we get it with the hemostats. Okay, so the camera crew got it for me because she has smaller hands. Brown is up. Next time I do that, I'm gonna put on the extension. I'm gonna put on the Y cable first because that'll give me a little bit more length to work with and that'll make it easier to grab. Okay, so I got a hold of it with the hemostats and now I've got that plugged in. And then all I have to do is go to wherever the rudder was plugged in, peel it out, and then steal that channel's signal, which is gonna be right here. Where is rudder?
Should be channel 4.
That's ailerons. What makes you think it's channel 4?
Because that's what it usually is.
Okay, I'm gonna just try to follow this linkage. That's the rudder. Okay, so the rudder goes up here. This wire goes up. Oh gosh, it's all tied together. Okay, so my next thing is I'm gonna get my radio out. Okay, so I pulled up my plane and I can tell right now that this is an older version because when I go to monitor, it's got 8 channels and this is on the NX10, which means we set this up on the NX8. So it might be worthwhile for me to get a new model set up and I might do that. But what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna go ahead and go in here and on channel 4, we now know it's channel 4 because we checked. So channel 4, why is this stuff all tied together like that? I don't understand that. It makes it impossible to just undo one. And it's not like it stops you from undoing the second one. So I really don't get that. Do you remember, did we do that?
I don't remember doing that. That doesn't seem
I
like
don't
how
think
you
we ever
would
took
tie
that
it
cover
up.
off.
I don't
Well,
think so.
we would have had to bind. I've got another zip tie in case I have to replace it, but I don't really understand why we would have done that. That seems sort of weird to me. Unless we were worried about getting those wires down into the servo's movement area, which would be a bit of a problem potentially. Okay, so now that we have that undone, I can find channel 4, which is here. That's the rudder. And then I can take this and I can plug it back into the Y cable. Now that it's plugged into the Y cable, and chase this all back over here. And then I need brown is down. Come on, come on, get in there, get in there. Of course, if you don't have a water rudder, you don't have to do this, but I'm assuming if you're buying the stuff that goes with this plane, you're gonna get it with a water rudder. Okay, so that's plugged in. Seems like we got decent purchase there. And there's not much slack, so I am going to tie up this separately, just like it had been, even though I was complaining about it earlier. I'm just gonna come around it like this, like this. And then I'm gonna slide the zip tie. I'm sure you probably can't see anything, but you can see my hands. My hands are in there, I promise you, they're doing things. Like the hands of a surgeon, only much, much less important. And I also happen to have a cut on the side of my pinky, and it's rubbing into every conceivable surface as I do this, which is ironic because that cut came from a burn, which was while we were burning a super, super small brush pile right before we burned a gigantic house-sized brush fire.
Yes.
Which was ridiculous. I got burned on the little baby fire.
Yeah.
Through gloves. But that's all right, it's all part of the show. Okay, so now that should be taken care of. Now the next thing I have to do is go ahead and we're probably gonna have to bind at some point. So I'll leave that cover off, but I do need to figure out what I'm doing on the wire because that wire looks obscenely bad. And so I'm gonna go ahead and pop the lid back on here, snap that on, and then I think I'm gonna go back onto the plane stand. Is there any reason why I wouldn't just flip it over onto the plane stand from here? I don't know. That's rather awkward.
Let me bring the plane stand over.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, good. So it's down and it's down.
Okay.
All right, so now we have to figure out how we're doing the wires so we can get that thing tidied up nicely and for permanent consumption. Because this is, I'm gonna probably leave this one set up this way all the time, okay? So then I want to have that tied nicely. It ends up being a pretty good fit actually. Mm-hmm. So zip ties for sure. And if I really wanted to get hard on about it, I could glue down the wire as well, right?
You could. And the manual also recommends covering over the hole where the water rudder goes into the plane to kind of waterproof it.
To waterproof it?
Yeah. Well, it says to use like silicone or something, but if that plays into
where it goes into the bottom of the plane?
Yeah.
Are they seriously worried about that spot?
I'm just saying what it says. Doesn't seem like that would be a super critical thing.
It seems like if water's getting in there, you're pretty much already too screwed by that point anyway, right?
I don't know how much water would get in there.
Okay, well, I'm trying to debate it between a black and white zip tie because black zip ties might historically be a little bit more UV resistant. So I'm gonna defer to that.
Okay.
But there's not enough in the drawer, so we're probably gonna have to pause and go finish the job, so. All right, so we got some more small black zip ties. Okay, so I'm just trying to keep this so that the brown is on the same side and make it kind of a little bit nicer looking. And I'm gonna kind of tie it up here a little bit, and then once I tie it, I can slide this cable tied down just to pull it under tension there. That'll kind of keep it looking nicer. I'm not sure if I care if that's enough, or to be honest, I haven't had to do this for such a long time. I haven't really had a lot of practice with this step because normally this is all hidden pretty good. And so they're suggesting that you seal this up with silicone of sorts, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I will meet them halfway. I'm gonna meet them halfway, but I'm just trying to decide if I wanna do a third zip tie or not. Yeah, I'm gonna do a third zip tie. Yeah, let's do that, right in the middle. It's gonna be more visible, but I just don't want slacked cables. It's gonna look crappy. but so will that stupid zip tie. I wish I had those wire tie things. Those are garbage there, camera crew.
Okay.
So what I mean by I'm gonna meet them halfway is I'm probably gonna go ahead and tape over it. And if I tape over it, I'm trying to decide, I'll probably just I'll use a fairly thick piece of tape so that it just covers a lot of surface area, and then it's less likely to get an edge picked up and release. I don't think we're gonna have big issues with water splashing up into that cavity, because to be honest with you, if the water gets that high, you're already flipped upside down or whatever anyway.
And then you're gonna get water in those vent holes. Anyway.
What now?
You're gonna get water in the vent holes that you put the little splash guards on, if you're getting that much water on the bottom of it.
Yeah, you would think, but I mean, I guess it just kind of depends on how things go with the flight. If you have like a really bad flight, it just depends. So, as per usual, the installation that should be easy is kind of frustrating, but you know, that's exactly what I expected. So, to be honest, I'm not really too off-put by that. That's pretty much par for the course on some of these installs. When you've done so many of them, you get a little frustrated. Okay, so I'm just pressing past the mark. And remember, my objective is to just basically come up with a way to do this so that it is easy and effective and also looks good. But the thing is, like, I'm not doing a very good job of any of those things, because every time I try something, another piece of this airplane gets in the way of what I was trying to do. It's comically annoying. So then I'm just gonna cut this at about a 45-degree angle. And then I'm gonna cut it before it hits over the edge, so as to just kind of keep it tidy and nice looking.
Keep it all on the bottom.
Yeah, it's clean.
Yeah.
And that's all I care about, is just trying to keep the installation as clean as possible. And I don't necessarily think it's gonna be that big of an eyesore. In fact, the shipping paperwork that came with this Horizon float set, hold on, I have a brilliant plan. I have a brilliant plan. I don't know if this is gonna be long enough. I think it might be. See this? I'm just gonna like totally use this. See?
Mm-hmm. Use the
White.
label piece.
I should have put that underneath, but as per usual, I didn't think of it until it was too late. That's what we do best, of us men. Does that cover it up nicely? Or does it just look stupid, like I put a piece of white tape across it?
Well, I mean, it covers up.
Does it look stupid though?
It looks
Looks stupid.
The problem is if it gets wet.
Yeah, it's well,
It's
but that's
not.
what I was wondering is, did I get enough coverage?
Right.
And I don't know that I did.
You have another piece you're going to put on this side towards you.
That's what I was kind of seeing if I could do.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that doesn't seem to be double-sided tape. What the heck?
Sticky?
Yeah, one side wasn't sticky. That's so weird. That's just paper.
Only partial label.
Yeah, it's like a partial label. Yeah. So yeah, I'll do, how much of it do I need? Probably about like that much, eh? So just a piece like this. I was thinking of using vinyl tape, like electrical tape that's white in color, because I do have that. And that actually works really nice for this sort of thing, but it does tend to want to come off of there. And that's why I was a little reluctant to get into that. Plus I didn't have it at my immediate disposal, and I'm too lazy to go get it. How bad does that blend in?
I don't know. It doesn't really look that bad. You're not ever going to see it from the...
Except for the fact that we filmed it for the World Wide Web to
Well,
watch.
I know. So they'll see it, but...
And you're worried about it getting wet?
I mean, I'm not super worried about it.
You're not?
No.
Okay. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this back just a hair so that it looks nice. And then once it's trimmed back, then I can tape over it with one more slather of tape, and then it should work perfectly fine. Okay, we'll be right back when we're done with that. Oh, you're back. I was just coloring my tip. Okay, so I taped the bottom and it worked out pretty good. And then I was just noticing my little improvements on the wingtips looked bad. So I was just taking this Sharpie brand marker and I was just touching up the colors, which by the way, this does match almost perfectly with regard to the orange of this Carbon Cub. So that's pretty cool. It doesn't always work out that way. And so when it does, I'll take yes for an answer. But that being said, we've got everything done to the extent that technically this should work. But what you don't know is I'm probably bound to my NX8 still, and we're on an NX10 now. And so my thinking is, I'm wondering if I want to create a new model so I can have all the flight modes and everything audio tracked.
Oh.
So, or we can bind to this, but then I don't have the full 10 channels, because when you make a model and it's a DX8, then you won't have access to the 10 channels. Now, that probably isn't an issue if you're in bind and fly, because this has an AR637T. A, right? Yeah, TA. Yeah, it's a TA. But the thing is, because it is a 10 channel receiver, if it was an 8 channel or a 10 channel receiver, you would want to redo it. In our case, I think we'll just leave it as 8 and I'll go in and change my flight modes. Camera crew, pull the thing.
Got it?
Goodness gracious. This thing is just huge.
It is gigantic.
I mean, it was big before. Now it's
Yeah.
like really, really big. I mean, it's awesome that it's big, but it's like huge. So huge is good when it comes to flying airplanes. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to bind this thing. So in order to bind, I need a battery. So I'm gonna work on that now. I've got that ready to screw back on.
Okay.
Once we get it bound, we should be good to go. It doesn't really matter what battery we use, unless it's not charged enough, it may not allow you to bind. But I do need access to the bind button. And I think I might have left a place to reach through a screwdriver, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do this again. Okay, throttle cuts on. The only thing I haven't added on this is, I'm gonna bind first and then I'll change my settings.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll pop the hatch. You can pull up the release on this thing, then it slides forward, and then this thing comes out so you can actually load your battery into the tray. And my intentions are to use the 5,000 milliamp hour 6S to fly this plane on the floats, because that is a really good size for this battery, or for this plane. But I had a 4-minute timer set up on there and I'm like, there's no way that's a 4-minute flight.
Yeah.
So I don't know if my battery was bad or if I was just pushing it like an insane person, or if this thing just chews batteries, but I don't remember it being a battery chewer. The lead is tucked down here for what it's worth. See? And it's not especially long. But then I also have my air valve in there too.
Yeah, I was just noticing that. We're gonna have to take that out and put it with the
Yeah, probably.
wheels.
Okay, so I'm gonna strap this down. One of the coolest features of this battery, of this plane, is this battery tray, which seems like such a non-issue until you go back and do a plane that doesn't have the battery tray. But you know what we didn't do on this?
There's no shelf liner on that.
There's no shelf liner on it, so it's just wiggling and slipping and sliding around, which is unacceptable. So we're gonna do that right now as well. If you guys are brand new to Brian Phillips RC, if you wanna help support us, all you need to do is buy planes from the links in the video description below. Easiest way to support us financially, doing that. Otherwise, we have PayPal for one-time donations, YouTube Super Thanks for one-time donations. And then of course we have YouTube members and Patreon. So lots of different ways you can support us financially, but we think the best way is just buy planes and stuff you want for your airplanes, helicopters, quads, VTOLs, leaf blowers, whatever it is we're reviewing at the time. And that's can help support us financially, because then we get commissions from the companies we work with. So, okay, so we'll do something like that. We'll just lay that in the tray. Now this doesn't need hardly any stickum to make it stay. You could actually do none. But the thing is, if you do none, it's going to be likely to fall out every time you take that tray out. So what I suggest is just do like a really small amount, because then it won't transfer through to your battery, but you want it to have enough so that it stays, okay? Yeah. So again, just foam to foam. You can use the cheap China glue, you know, like this stuff if you want, doesn't really matter. I suggest if you're buying from them, you go ahead and order some of that. Now, once you get that on there, you would just take this. On the plastic ones, it's sometimes a little bit tricky because you got to do this extra step. So you glue it on, you spread it around, and literally that's all you should need to do. You don't need to let it cook off like you do on another joint that's a little bit more structurally significant. And then I basically put this back here and we're golden. Then I can strap the battery in and just ready to rock and roll. Okay, so whichever direction you decide to load it, it's really kind of indifferent, except that you need to make sure you have enough length for your lead. So I'm gonna go to the forward portion. Pull that real tight, and then of course.
Nice, that's better.
Oh yeah, 100 times better. And it's immediate too, that's why I like that. It just works right away every time you try it. We've never had an issue where where that tray
has been a problem.
Has been a problem.
Yeah.
It's only a problem when it's not there. And then we do have a bind plug all the way up here too, it looks like. So that's kind of interesting. That's probably because when we did this plane, we were just getting to the point where we were learning that the bind button existed. I wonder. Because this must have been like one of the early adopters for the AR637.
Probably was.
Okay, so that's locked in place. Okay, now, because this is a big, huge prop, I need to be careful, and there is a power switch on this one, I thought. Maybe there's a power switch on the other one. Yeah, I think there's a power switch on the other one. So I'm going to prepare myself to bind. I'm not going to actually do that yet. Now, I'm going to have to plug this in. Gosh, I could have sworn there was a power switch in here. Maybe I'm thinking of the old one.
I don't remember.
Well, if you don't remember, then you don't know. I don't remember. I just saw it on another plane. What plane were we doing? Oh,
that was the Apprentice SDS.
Yeah, but see, this is what I'm talking about. There's no way to plug this in without being out of the way of the prop, and I'm not a big fan of that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug it in and quickly move out of the way because it does take a second to initiate. Get it all the way in. Okay, now it's not bound, so this shouldn't work, okay? So camera crew, you're gonna stay out of the safe. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I'm pressing the bind button now. What are you filming?
I can't see.
Come around. So I press the button, AR637 TA, and then I'm gonna go down to bind, binding DSMX 22 milliseconds. This is a TA, by the way, okay? Okay, so now that the bind is complete, elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right, yaw left, yaw right. Yep, it's working. Perfect. Okay, yaw left, yaw right, very good. Okay, so now throttle cuts on. I'm gonna test that right now. Okay, cleared the timer because it's just started. I'm gonna slide this back in, get that screwed down. We shouldn't need to get at that again unless we go to make a change to the physical wiring. So now I'm gonna basically put this away and then we can start into radio setup changes if they're necessary. At this point, we should be able to trust the plane because we have checked the throttle cut and it's working. Okay, so my next thing is take off flaps, landing flaps, take off flaps, landing flaps. Okay, over here. Elevator up, elevator down, yaw left, yaw right, roll left, roll right, take off flaps, landing flaps. Now there's flight modes, nope. Gear, that's all the way down. No change, 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 no change. Okay, so I wonder if it probably didn't carry over the forward programming. So forward programming, gyro settings, safe select. Okay, so it's on the gear channel and it's off. So we have to turn it on and it's automatically assigned by default to the gear switch. So now it says it's on. Now it says it's off with the AS3X left on. Okay, now safe is on. Now safe is off. You guys see what I was looking for earlier? So now when I walk out, I'm gonna actually make a change on that anyway. Normally when I do this, there would be a flight mode, but I guess I don't have to do that. I can also make an audio event, but what I wanna do is I probably wanna change this to my D switch, because that's what we do now, and we've been doing that for some time. So if I'm gonna do that, there's two ways to make this happen. If I go down to System Setup, Disconnect RF, and I go down to Flight Mode Setup, and I make an attachment to switch D, then I go down to Spoken Flight Mode, and I set this to AS3X. So AS3X, and then I speak Spoken AS3X. We'll find it, come back. Okay, all the way down here to AS3X. Then this one, I think I'm gonna leave this, I'm gonna say off. So I hit cancel, cancel, it clears it. All right, so off, and then this one I'm gonna say off. I don't know if we can actually turn it off, but we're gonna make this off setting in the middle and see if we can do it. Off. Okay, so now we're gonna put safe here. Okay, so we got safe, and now we're gonna scroll way down to the bottom. Okay, so now safe mode. Off and AS3X mode. So now we walk back out, we go to channel assign, and we can see where gear is set to switch A. We can set that to either D, or we can go to flight mode. So we're gonna set that flight mode, okay? So now when we come out, throttle cuts on, we're gonna quickly test that again, just make sure nothing changed, good. Timer's cleared, throttle cuts on, click. Scroll down to forward programming, connecting gyro settings, safe select. Now we have 3 settings. See, look, safe select is on here. See, safe is off. AS3X on, AS3X off, safe on. See, 3 positions, 3 modes. No interference from the A switch now, which is what we want. Okay, now we're gonna go back in and just double confirm. I know I've already tested throttle cut, just wanna make sure there's no weird setting. It's at -130, which is kind of strange. We got away from that somewhat. Now I wanna scroll all the way over. Look at this. I wanna see if we did anything for thrust reverse. So throttle cut's on, throttle cut is now off. I'm gonna go ahead and give it some throttle. That's forward thrust. Now I'm gonna give it G. Yep. So I do have thrust reverse, but it's set up different. So nowadays, when I set up my throttle cut, I go to digital switch settings, I select switch G, and what I do is I make sure that they're set the way I want. I think when I did this, it was when we were first starting, and I probably went into servos and set up to travel and to reverse, and I bet I reversed aux 2. See how reverse is on? I'm gonna unreverse it, okay? So now what's gonna happen is when my throttle cuts off, when my switch is forward, it's gonna be going in reverse thrust. Yep, it's in reverse thrust. When I go to the middle, it's gonna float like you don't know. And then when you go all the way back, it's forward thrust. That's not what we want, okay? So throttle cut's now on. So now I need to go into digital switch setup. We learned to do this since. Select switch G. And this, I want it -100. That's gonna give us forward thrust. Okay. There's that. And then I want this to be +100, which is reverse thrust. Not like pilot fatigue or anything where it goes to full throttle in reverse thrust. We have to set that up with the mix, and we don't do that on prop planes, too dangerous. We just do that on EDF jets. Okay, so now when it's in this condition, it's forward thrust. This condition, it's reverse thrust, and this condition is also reverse thrust. Okay, so let's demonstrate. Throttle cuts off. I'm walking out of the menu. Throttle cuts off. Forward thrust. As you can see, now reverse thrust and reverse thrust. Forward thrust is only the forward setting. Throttle cuts on, it's tested. It's tested in reverse thrust. It's tested in reverse thrust. Always test your throttle cut. You need to trust that because it's a difference between hand or not, okay? The elevator up and down. AS3X is off, nothing changes. Safe goes on. Everything loosens. It lowers. It goes to more throw, it goes to less throw, because you're gonna have limited bank angles and all that good stuff. Okay, so now the other thing too is over here, you're gonna scroll over and you're gonna look for this and that. Beautiful. So we have full telemetry, except for barometric pressure, which gets you altitude, because that's a AR637TA, which is different than the T. The T gives you the barometric pressure, the barometer gives you altitude measurement via the barometer. All right, so the other thing too is 4 minutes is a ridiculous timer. So the other thing is, I bet because we did this early on, we can go to telemetry, we can go to smart battery. Yep, I don't want a warning for that. I don't want a warning for that, and I don't want a warning for that. But what I do want a warning for is if I get to 3.4 volts per cell, okay? And my timer is probably a moot point, but I'm still gonna set it to, I'll set it to 5. Anything over 25%, it'll be active, okay? And then really, all I need to do is just fly until I get an audible warning or when I see that gauge go down, which is pretty sweet. And that's really all you have to do with telemetry setup. Now, also, we've added in the feature of knowing what mode we're in based on what the screen says, which is really nice. And
off. AS3X mode. Safe mode.
okay, so she tells us what's going on. All right, so that's everything we need. We have thrust reverse, so when we get up to the edge of the pond, we'll be able to back up. We have AS3X and safe, as well as off, which is something we added. And then we have full control of each of the surfaces. Now, when we're in safe, you'll notice that this tail feather is gonna try to get us up to level. See, like that. So just be aware of that. If you're flying in safe and you're flying on floats, you may need to go in and do a correction for that. So come over here and we'll show you. So safe is going to go off. It doesn't need to be on to show you this. So click, scroll down to forward programming, gyro settings, safe select. See this? You can turn this on and off, and that's about all you get in this mode. That's because the firmware on here is older. It's 2.3707. And so what that means is if you want all the features that we have now, you would need to update the firmware, and then you should be able to go in and actually reposition the exact attitude, both pitch and then the roll axis that safe is gonna bring you to, okay? So keep that in mind if it's an issue while you're flying on floats. The other thing too is I just wanted to point out the fact that while the company that sells this, or Horizon, has worked out where they want these floats to sit, if you want them back a little further, then you can move them back technically, but I wouldn't. I think they look about right here. And so if you need to move them forward, you can move them forward one set of the holes at a time, which is pretty cool. So if you buy this float set, but you're using it for some custom plane that you built on your own, maybe a kit plane or something like that, you can actually find the intermediate stages. So one tip I was gonna suggest, and we kind of learned this the hard way, when you're building this, build this with only one screw in each of these squares. Because if you get one flipped, it's a lot quicker to take out one screw and flip it, because they are very subtly different, okay? So pay very close attention to the hole sizes. The large hole's in the center on the front, and the big hole is big on the back. The small hole is small on the front. The big hole is big on the front, and the small hole is small on the back. I hope that makes sense when I say that, and you can see that when I show it to you visually. They don't talk about that in the manual because they just assume through osmosis we know these things. I'm not sure how we would. Okay, so other things about this plane is it's awesome. I love it. It's one of my favorites. I always have loved it, and I have always been very happy to be in front of this thing. Every single time I fly it, it makes me smile. You will never regret getting this plane unless it has to do with size issues, because it is big, okay? Now, that being said, I want to try to fly this, but I don't know if the wind is gonna be cooperative. It is quite windy right now, as you can see from the windsock being pulled all the way out. So I'm not sure if I wanna risk it right now. Even though this plane would handle the wind, I don't really want my maiden voyage with this plane on our pond to be a negative one. And so we're probably gonna hold off until we have a little bit better conditions. But you guys won't know any better because you're basically watching this video out of order anyway. So the radio setup was something we didn't expect to add. Super excited to be bringing you floats finally in our beautiful new pond. We can't wait for everything to be totally done. We're gonna have a dock soon if we play our cards right. And we're gonna have grass and everything growing in all around. It's gonna be super exciting. And then the damn runway. But I have to wait for everything to settle before I can build the damn runway. And it's gonna be very, very damn frustrating because that's like a year or so I have to wait for everything to settle. But while we're waiting, we're gonna build another pad back there, and that pad is going to be where the damn gift shop goes, AKA a 60 by 80 building that's gonna hold a real one of these someday if everything goes to plan, which that's a lot of things.
But not on floats.
Well, probably not on floats.
Probably not.
Probably not. But I think the wingspan of this plane is like 38 feet, if I remember right, if I looked it up right. So I'll have to check, because I think the door I'm building is gonna be 40 feet wide. It's gonna be cool. But anyway, that's a long ways off, and many, many, many dollars and cents that I don't have off as well. But in the meantime, I gotta get the pad done before I can start building the building, so it can sit and settle, just like the dam. But this stuff is all really happening, and when you guys hear me talk about it on Brian Phillips RC, remember, it's gonna happen. It just takes time. And believe me, even if I had all the money in the world, it would still take a long time, and that's excruciatingly painful. But it still takes a long time.
Yep.
It's very painful. All right, guys, stay tuned. So much more from Brian Phillips RC. If you wanna support us, the best thing you can do is buy things like the floats, the radios, the batteries, all the different stuff you see a showcase on this channel, especially the stuff you like. If you don't like something, don't ever feel compelled to buy it. We are telling you don't buy it, in fact, most of the time, if it's bad. But what we like to do is we like to, instead of just bashing on products that aren't perfect, like some of our competitors like to do on YouTube, we just kind of point out what's good about it. And then you guys are smart enough, and we don't want to insult your intelligence and say that you're too stupid to realize this is garbage. We just show it being garbage, and then you know. But that being said, this is an awesome plane. There's always frustrating moments in these builds, and so thank God that the camera crew hasn't murdered me yet. I probably deserve it a few times. But the thing is, every time we go into a build on a Carbon Cub, the hardware gives me problems. But there is a lot of hardware on this, and doing floats can be a little bit tricky and frustrating because the directions sometimes are a little lackluster. That's why you watch a video like this and watch me make mistakes, so you don't have to in real life. Other than that, thanks guys for being here with us, and thanks for watching. So much more to come on Brian Phillips RC.